All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Mets Weekly Podcast as we are live at this very moment on YouTube and on X to recap the Mets versus Red Sox series, as well as all of the latest news and rumors in New York Mets land. But before we get into that, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to the Mets Weekly YouTube channel for new episodes of our show that are recorded live after every series during the regular season. For those of you listening or watching on playback, you want to join the conversation in the future, make sure to turn on those post notifications to know when we go live. For those of you in the live chat right now, we love reading your comments, your questions, your concerns, all of that great stuff. If you feel like you're being ignored, you're not being ignored. We're just going to star them throughout the show. We'll try to pull up as many as we can to keep the flow of the conversation going. Make sure to follow Mets Weekly on X and on TikTok for Frank's instant post-game reactions following every single regular season game, which are titled the Mets Frankly Post-Game. For audio listeners, make sure to follow us on all your favorite listening platforms to not miss the audio version of new episodes that go up at 9 a.m. the following day. Also, make sure to give us a 5-star review. It would be greatly appreciated. So, without further ado, let's get into episode number 137. Now, we have plenty to talk about, plenty of craziness to talk about, a little bit of an unusual episode that we are recording here, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Frank, I think you can agree. But as for the Mets side of things, this last few stretch of games, very tedious to watch, not fun, very laboring through 9 innings every single night, not fun baseball at all. And to top it off, you play one of the best teams in baseball tonight. Moving on going forward. So definitely it's not going to get any easier in the next coming days, but they got to get it. They got to get it together. They got to be better than this.
Well, I mean, even when they were well ahead, we had shared our concerns. We felt there were some things that we didn't like, particularly on the offensive end. And everyone said, don't worry, they're in first place. Everything is fine. Well, they are now 2 games out of first place. So it could happen that quickly. And it was because the same issues and they weren't able to always get bailed out. And this is what happened. You know, they faced a Boston team that has some talent, no doubt about it. But, you know, going into the series, they were under 500. Like, this was a winnable matchup for them. They could have won it. All these games were very close. And they didn't because the offense didn't come through, squandered a bunch of opportunities. And it's like, of course, the game you face Garrett Crochet, that's the game where your offense wants to wake up because that's just how the Mets are. I mean, they are a bit unpredictable. And there's a lot of stuff that we're going to get into, some stuff on the field, some stuff off the field. So there definitely is a lot going on right now. Something that we don't really want to talk about. I mean, this is not really what we had in mind. And at least they were able to win, last game of the series because I said one of my recaps, but I remember very well where the Mets faced the Dodgers late in May. Some crazy things happened, and then everything took off. It's late May again, not in first place, taking on the Dodgers. So we'll see what kind of changes we see this time. And last time was also in Citi Field. So I'm just very curious to see how they handle this weekend series after how they've been struggling a little bit.
Well, I mean, they have every instance to take off now because they're going to be playing 2 of the worst teams in baseball after that series. So if that gives them that, kick in the stomach, then I'm fine with it. I wish it didn't have to happen in order for them to make all those changes, but I'm glad that they're doing it 10 games over 500, if that's the case, compared to 11 games under 500 last time. Now, as for today, we have a very special guest that will be representing the other side of this recap as a Red Sox fan. He has been on our show before. He is an old friend from way back in the early days of Mets Weekly. And ever since he has taken off on the YouTube platform, you may know him for his videos on about the latest news and controversies in Major League Baseball. Please help us welcome back Isaac from iTalk Studios. Isaac, it has been a long time since you've been on here.
Original member
with our show.
He was a founding member, one of the original Avengers. So
yes, it's been a long time. So glad to have you back on here. We figured that it just lined up so perfectly for the way that we could do this episode, because we know that a lot of your content has to do with a lot of some off the field stuff and things that have been going on in baseball that may be a little bit peculiar, that opens up a conversation about people. And also you're a Red Sox fan. So it all lined up so perfectly that we're like, okay, we have to do this. We have to bring you back. So welcome back to the show. Glad to have you on.
Yes, happy to be back. Thank you for having me. It's crazy. It's been a minute, but yeah, it brings me back for sure.
Yeah. So we have plenty of stuff to discuss, obviously, with this series on and off the field. And I do want to get into the events of everything, but we got some people in the chat as well. Churro is here talking about his displeasure for Starling Marte. We hear it. Matt as well here in the chat. For those of you coming over from Isaac's channel, if I'm pretty sure he shouted it out over there. For those of you watching on Twitter, best way to communicate with us here is through YouTube, because some of the comments don't come through. And then also, I'm pretty sure that X or Twitter or whatever we want to call it, it has been kind of down these last few days, and it's been a little bit unfunctional where we can't really see our notifications that well. Our messages are not coming through swiftly, so it hasn't been great. So maybe we have some viewership coming over from Twitter. Maybe we have a little bit less because of that. It's whatever. We're just going to roll with it. Show must go on. So obviously we're going into a Red Sox series with the Mets. From our side, obviously, going into Fenway, coming off of a series in Yankee Stadium that was definitely underwhelming, to say the least, especially with how that was all folded up with. But I do want to get into what happened in this series in Fenway. Now, it may be a little bit less because of how less of the offensive production the Mets have had through those first two games of some of the notes I have here, but we're just going to roll with it. So here's your full rundown of these three games that we had in Fenway. Game one, Kodai Senga made his 9th start of the year, and after a rough start to it, he did turn in a quality outing, allowing 3 earned runs in the first 2 innings, but he ended up with 5 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts on 100 pitches, down 3-0 in the third after a leadoff double by Francisco Alvarez and a grounder to the right side by McNeil to move him over to third. Tyrone Taylor would get the Mets on the board with an RBI single. Jose Castillo would make his Mets debut in the 7th and work around a couple of base runners to talk a scoreless inning. Jose Budo would get the 8th and allow 2 hits, but record a scoreless inning as well. The Mets offense would be shut down by the Red Sox bullpen, capped off by a Francisco Alvarez grounding into the 4th double play of the night by New York to end the game, going 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position, sky blue, water wet, to drop game 1 of the series 3-1. Game 2, Clay Holmes would make the start and work in and out of trouble all night, but he would give up 2 runs in the 6th in the 6th inning of the game on solo shots by Carlos Narvaez and Rafael Devers, and he'd finish the inning to end his night. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts on 90 pitches. Max Kranick would pitch the 7th and 8th, post 2 scoreless innings, retiring 6 of the 7 batters that he faced with 2 strikeouts. The Mets offense would relatively do nothing all night. 4 hits in total. Boston would lose a lot of their bullpen after Walker Buehler got ejected in the 3rd, but it didn't seem to matter one bit as they would go 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Once again, like I said, grass green, fire warm. Todd Frazier is from Toms River, New Jersey. Pretty much the usual as the Mets drop the first 2 games at Fenway, and in game 2. 2-0. Game 3, Tyler McGill would start the series finale and cruise through the first 4 innings, but run into some trouble in the 5th after back-to-back defensive miscues in the infield and a hit by pitch. McGill would allow the only Boston run of the night on a sacrifice fly, and after a wild pitch to make it 2nd and 3rd, he'd walk Rafael Devers. The Mets would pull McGill for Huskar Brazaban, who would get the final out of the fifth by striking out Alex Bregman and close the book on McGill. 4 2/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts on 85 pitches. The Mets would open the scoring in the second with 2 on and 2 out. Brett Beatty would line an RBI single to make it 1-0. Tied at 1 in the sixth, the Mets would get the bases loaded with nobody out after 3 straight singles by Terrens, Taylor, and Acuna. Boston would go to the left-hander to face Brett Beatty, and it would backfire as Beatty would give the Mets a 3-1 lead on a 2-run single. Juan Soto would add to it with a bases-loaded sacrifice fly to make it 4-1 New York. Huskar Brazaban would come out of the sixth and the seventh, tossing a 2 innings and a third scoreless in relief with 4 strikeouts in total. Reed Garrett would get the 8th and toss a scoreless inning with a strikeout. Francisco Lindor would give the Mets some insurance, launching a solo home run over the Green Monster to make it 5-1 Mets and snap the Mets' drought of 217 consecutive at-bats without a home run. Yes, that is a correct stat. Edwin Diaz would get the 9th and work around a leadoff walk to toss a scoreless inning to secure a Game 3 victory and avoid the sweep in Boston 5-1. The Mets are now 30-20 on the season, but have now fallen out of first place in the National League East for the first time since the beginning of April, now 2 games behind the Philadelphia Phillies. So lots went on in this series. We know that a lot dropped in overall news off the field as well, which we will get into, of course. But Frank, I'm going to start with you here. It just seems like this offense just continues to get worse. That's literally all it looks like, because if you were to look at it from compared to April, May, just in the runners in scoring position category, and not just even including them grounding into so many double plays, which I think they're in like top 3 in that category. From April to May, the offense has been just putrid, awful. I mean, I don't even know how many adjectives you can put out there to say that this has just been a terrible offensive performance from a lineup that should be performing almost every night.
They were carried more by Lindor and Alonso in April than I think we all realized, because as soon as those guys started getting the slump, everything just fell apart. And it kind of makes sense when you think about it. I mean, Lindor is the spark plug. He's the engine that gets this thing going. He either would lead games off with a home run, so you're already starting up 1-0, or he just gets on base. And then with how good Pete was with runners on base, like that was kind of an automatic right there. Like you knew you had a few runs built in just between those two guys. Once they started to struggle, you could not count anyone else to pick up the slack. You knew it wasn't going to be in center field. You knew it wasn't going to be the catchers. I mean, Vientos and Nimmo, we still have not gotten any kind of consistency from them yet. And then we know the big guy, he still is not doing big guy things. So if those guys had any kind of struggle, you knew they were going to kind of fall apart, especially we know the whole DH situation. Winker down, Marte is kind of here, but basically plays like an injured player. So with all those things going on, this was going to happen. And I was hoping that maybe being in Fenway, it would help the right-handed hitters, but actually hurt them, because there were some that go out. The Green Monster didn't help, but then the Red Sox used it to their advantage. They went opposite field. Devers, with their lefties used the Green Monster. So like it wasn't an excuse. And for them to have this kind of home run drought was just absolutely crazy. I mean, like we said, the way this team is constructed, the power that these guys are capable of, it shouldn't be possible to see something like this happen, but it still did. And like you said, there's still no improvement with the men scoring position. Still the same exact problems with approach. And, they had it on the broadcast. They're like, oh, well, Eric Chavez said they're swinging at too many breaking balls and taking too many fastballs with running scoring position. And then it's like, while they're saying that, what's the team doing? Oh, fastball down the middle. Oh, breaking ball in the dirt. Let me go in the other batter's box. Let me go swing at that. Like, it's literally the same exact issues. So, I mean, you still haven't seen any improvement. Like you said, the numbers would tell you it's actually getting worse. So they made some changes a little bit. I don't think they were the right changes, because it was like, oh, we moved Marte to the 2-hole and we scored 5 runs. Well, yeah, it wasn't Marte. It was adding Beatty, who was there for defense, who was not allowed to play against left-handers. All of a sudden, your offense is much better. He's the one that got the hits with runs in scoring position. So You can't make it up. And even Torrens. I mean, Torrens had better ABs than Alvarez has had in like a week. I mean, Alvarez's singles to right field, great, but it's like the actual quality of the at bats were much stronger from Torrens. So that's not going to happen. Alvarez still going to be starter for now, but these are things they really have got to look at.
Yeah, I don't know if Torrens is starting tonight. Is he starting tonight, or is it Alvarez?
I believe Alvarez is behind the plate. Let me just double
okay.
check that. Yes, Alvarez.
Alvarez tonight. Okay,
batting
so
ninth, by the way,
catching
and batting.
Okay,
ninth.
So he's batting ninth, and then he's catching Canning, which I've seen that McGill has done better with Torrens behind the plate.
And now Vientos is in the 2-hole. So
Vientos is in the 2-hole.
I know they mentioned that they wanted Vientos to be in the 2-hole the other night, but they decided to use Marte because Marte was great in the 2-hole in 2022. He's a totally different player now. So they still, like we've talked about all season, have not figured out a lineup. They are changing it every single day because it's like now you have Marte batting after Alonso and then Nimmo. It's like Taylor 7th. Like it's all over the place. They really don't even know what's going on. It's like, once again, and like people are talking about with Eric Chavez, it's like they're blaming the players, not the hitting coach. You keep swapping up the players, but not swapping up the hitting coach.
No, you're not. There's like a very lack of change and a lot of stubbornness, I feel like, from, making whether it is drastic decisions. But it just seems like, the interchangeable lineup. Now, Isaac, I'll go to you, obviously, from the Red Sox standpoint of what you saw on the field, because there's plenty off the field with this situation. Your impression of the Mets, because we all know that they had, expectations, obviously, going into this year. I kind of filled you up on it off stream like a few days ago. We talked a few days ago, but I mean, that this is the type of reality where we're living in, where it's like it's a team that just it's not on that certain level. And I know that you've talked about the Red Sox as well, kind of being in that middle range, and they just have not been able to find a direction, whether they are below 500 or a little bit over 500. So you definitely saw two teams, I'd say, that are struggling to show a little bit of identity. I think that's kind of what you're seeing between the Mets and Red Sox. So you got the upper hand in this one, 2 out of 3. So what did you see from both of these teams, from both sides?
Honestly, I saw more the Mets being lackluster than the Red Sox being better. Which
you're not hurting our feelings there. Don't worry.
Which makes me upset. I wish I could say like I took away from it, the Red Sox being very good, but they just weren't. But we're playing the Orioles right now. We're running away with this game. This is the kind of series where we need to at least take 3 out of 4. I mean, that's what that's what you got to do. So, but with the Mets, they just seem very lackluster. Seems like they're, like you said, struggling to find identity, like the Red Sox are too. And they did not hit until, of course, like you said, of course, Crochet is the game that they start. Not that they crushed him, but it was more so just that's the game where they started to put it together, which honestly I expected. I was really hoping for a sweep, obviously, but I was very prepared for Crochet. The one game that it's like, okay, this should be a slam dunk win wasn't. I was like, honestly, after we won the first 2, I was like, we're probably going to lose this game. I think if we won the second game, it would have been different, or lost one of the first 2, it would have been different. But after we won the first 2, I was like, I could see us losing the third, and we did. But it was more, the Mets just seem very, they just don't know who they are yet. Even though last year, coming off of last year, you think they have more of a vibe like that to them, but they just don't, at least not fully. Maybe here and there you could see it, but not yet. Yeah. And,
I think that image kind of just gets folded back from a lot of things that are kind of tied up on this team. We talk about this all the time of the limits that we have in skill set with players, because individually their stat lines, they may look good. You may have plenty of guys over the league average as of right now, whether they're underperforming or not, they still have been giving you that over league average type of production. but it's also the overall skill set from what you're getting. You're not getting much speed on the base pass that can beat out a double play. You're not getting speed up from the base pass that can go from second to third. There's definitely limits here where it becomes station to station offense. And when you have a team that has struggled so much with runners in scoring position, it adds on to that. I think, with this Red Sox offense, I don't think, I think the Mets, they held it in check okay, because they have had a lot of instances where a lot of the relievers have had to bail out a lot of our starters from a lot of these situations where there's extra base runners because of these defensive miscues. But no, that's exactly what we have been talking about all year with this Mets team, where you've constantly you're just not seeing that continuity of a first place team.
Yeah.
And they are a first place team because they're getting carried by a pitching staff that everyone expected was going to be running on fumes without Minaya or Montas even throwing a pitch yet. So it just was so, basically the identity of it just basically getting worse. Like what we have said with the runners in scoring position situation, which has been the topic of discussion throughout the entire year. I mean, in March to April, to start off the year to the end of April, I mean, they were batting 236 with runners in scoring position. You go into May, it's 200. Like, it's even lower now. Yeah. So eventually they're going to have to make adjustments because it's going to start to catch up with them. And it has been. They have back-to-back series losses now in Yankee Stadium, in Fenway Park, which both have been relatively known as hitters' stadiums and hitters' dimensions. Fenway Park a little bit more, but obviously that right field wall in Yankee Stadium, the Mets did not hit a single homer over it. Like I said, what was it, 217 ABs without a home run? I mean, that's how much this offense is struggling when you have so much of this star power in this lineup, and it all really has to do with the approach. I mean, I think, we can clue in a little bit with the Red Sox situation here. Obviously, if you guys are paying attention right now, it looked like Alex Bregman came out of the game due to quad tightness. They're playing against Baltimore right now. But obviously, Alex Bregman was in a topic of discussion during the offseason about, the Mets possibly bringing him in. There was talks about him wanting a 6 or 7 year deal. I think there's an opt out after this year, right? For Bregman, or opt out after 2 years in that contract.
Both.
Yeah.
There's opt out after every year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very weird because obviously they had the entire situation with Rafi Devers of him saying he wants to be a third baseman. They have all that money tied into him. So, I mean, obviously the Mets were attached to Alex Bregman. I wasn't a fan of bringing him in. I just didn't think it was a good fit. I think that they just needed more left-handed bats. Obviously, they got the left-handed bat in Juan Soto. To be honest, we'll take any bat at this current moment, with how our offense has been going. But, I mean, there's an opt-out after that year. I mean, do you see Bregman as a future piece to this team? Because, again, he'll be 32 next year. So it's a different question to ask, of course, with Rafi Devers in that formula.
I think 1,000% he's the future. He has to be part of this future. I think he's too important for just not only just on the field, but for what he adds just to the vibe of the team. A leader who knows how to win, who's all he knows is winning. I think that's so important. And he's already adding that, right? And plus he's amazing, and Fenway fits his swing. And so it's just everything together, I think, has fit in more than I thought. And I used to think, I only want him on a short-term deal. And we got him on a short-term deal, and I was happy. Now it scares me to think about Alex Bregman not being here in the future. Like, I want him here for 5-6 more years for sure. So I would be very happy if we restructured that contract and just locked him up. But yeah, obviously he went down today. Hopefully he's fine. Hopefully it's nothing extreme. Because he's been very important to this team. And I don't think it's a big deal between the whole Rafi thing. I think Rafi's crushing it. I think he's the DH from now on, and I don't think there should be an issue with that.
Yeah, and obviously, it's rough to give $300 million to someone who's just going to DH. Obviously, we've had talks and jokes about, Juan Soto is going to be a
Sure,
DH when
yeah.
he's 35. But like that's her sort of value. But when you see what Rafi Devers can give to a lineup, I think that like it's really
Yeah.
easy to just point out that like this is an impact bat. We know that he's not the best hands at third base, and Bregman is one of the best. I think that the one thing that why it makes it such a good fit, obviously his swing fitting Fenway the way that it does over the right field wall, the way that it did with the Crawford boxes in Houston. But I think there's also a factor of with Boston having those young infielders coming up, those young prospects, he definitely could be a good connection for them and kind of mentor them into being MLB players and everyday mentor MLB players. Because you guys have that young kid Meyer, right? You have him in
Yeah.
AAA right
Yeah.
now.
And Roman Anthony. Yeah.
Yeah, you have Roman Anthony as well. I mean, you guys have a lot of talent that like has yet to blossom at the major league level yet. And a veteran guy like that in the infield, kind of similar to what we have with Francisco Lindor, with some of these young guys such as Vientos, who's still not good at third base, but has definitely helped him a lot. Guys like Luis Angel Acuna, when we had Jose Iglesias with us last year, like those types of veteran pieces, as they get older, they are, guys that can definitely contribute. And I think that that's the main reason as to why he's a good fit. If you're looking at it from like the last off season of how the Mets looked at Alex Bregman, I just did not see it as a fit with not even just how many young guys they have coming up, but also, the leash giving it to Mark Vientos or things like that, or, the right-handed heavy lineup. But I think that a lot of the featured guys in that Red Sox lineup are left-handed bats, I'm pretty sure. Duran is a left-handed bat. Devers is a left-handed bat. Like they have
Yeah.
a
It's
decent
very
amount of
left
lefty.
heavy.
Yeah, it's a lot of lefties, and like from both sides, you can definitely show from both dimensions in Fenway. But I think the one thing I think I told you this before as we can continue this conversation into it. Obviously, the Trevor Story deal is definitely the big block there. We have a similar situation with Jeff McNeil and his deal that is expiring through 2026. He has like a team option there. So I feel like, easing in that type of playing time, easing in that type of role that these young guys will have, it's probably the smartest thing for them to bring in to keep somebody like Alex Bregman. I think it's definitely a discussion to have. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
ahead,
Trevor Story. Trevor Story's been, yeah. I mean, I guess it is a little different with I mean, because McNeil's not on like a big contract like Story.
No, he's just on term. He's just on long term. Like overall money that he's making for them to, in the position that they gave him that money, it was so unnecessary to me. But
really, yeah.
It seemed like at the time the Red Sox were in a market for a shortstop. Was it Xander who left, or was that like
it was unnecessary for who? Story or
for the Mets to give to McNeil, because he had he had 2 years of control before they signed him to that. He wins the batting title. They give him $50 million guaranteed over 4 years. So there was just no reason for them to end up doing that. Not just because they had young guys there. It's just he's a second baseman that they should. You don't really invest that type of money into a second baseman unless they're giving you that marquee type of value offensively, like a Jose Altuve or a Marcus Semien. Like that's not Jeff McNeil. Like that just isn't. Some people will defend him to the day he dies. We all know my stance on Jeff McNeil, for those of you who have watched our show for a while. But I mean, there's definitely some of those veteran players that they kind of do regret those contracts instantly after they signed him. I think Trevor Story is more of a health concern than somebody like Jeff McNeil, who's just a head case concern, right, Frank? And speaking of other Red Sox, by the way,
is McNeil, he's not been very good.
No,
I haven't
since
really,
his
okay, so
he's had spurts where people have said he's back, and they get they get all flustered and wanting to defend him to the end of his day. But
he's
no,
not
he
in the
has
lineup
not been the
tonight.
same.
Yeah,
He's not in the lineup tonight. He's become like a part-time player making $15 million a year.
Yeah, we got plenty of
I've
expensive part-time guys, unfortunately.
It seems
we have
like that's.
plenty
I
of them.
think that's part of the issue, I guess, that comes with Steve Cohen.
Yeah.
Even though it's a good thing, right? He's willing to spend. I think he, he's going to spend a little bit unnecessarily sometimes.
Yeah. Since he signed that contract, he's been like basically a league average hitter. But he's also been banged up
God.
a little bit too.
The Red Sox game has just completely gotten out of hand. Holy crap.
16-3. Wow.
Rafi just hit a grand slam off a position player.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh my
God. That offensive impact, like I said, that's him.
Unbelievable.
The Orioles coach's faults.
Devers is 4 for 6 today with 8 RBIs.
He's gotten 5 in this inning alone. Where it was already done, and now it's like, wow.
That's
they
crazy.
got another game to play later.
You guys got to have a 10-run inning. You guys, and you're still going. 10-run inning. You're still going. You got 2 outs right now. The Orioles are
more of this, please. Holy
brutal.
Crap. They're back to like the 2018, or this is like a 2018 game throwback.
Yeah, this is.
Red Sox are killing it, and the Orioles are the worst team.
The Orioles are looking like the what the White Sox have become.
Yes,
like that's what they're looking like. They have all this young talent. Like
I guess their pitching, like I said, like the pitching was never. Oh my God, here's another run, 17-3. It's like their pitching was never, expected.
Patriots are beating the Ravens.
Yeah,
17-3.
The pitching was never supposed to be good. I mean, I don't think any of us thought it would be this bad. Like,
no,
this is crazy.
That's the crazy part about the Mets and Orioles. Everyone saw the Mets and Orioles as the 2 teams with the most concerning rotations going into this year, and that came true for the Orioles, which like they're the worst. And the Mets have been one of the best. So it was like, we don't belong in that category because, David Stearns knows what he's doing here. And the Orioles are just like, hey, we got young talent. We don't want to build around it. We'll trade for Burns. We're not bringing him back. Like, it just, it's gone downhill fast.
For Rodgers thinking, at least we got some control, but the guy's not very good to begin
with. It would
with.
tell you a lot here. Trevor Story. He already got out on a position player, and it's still going. He's already back out. They've been scoring. And if he's the final out, if he's 2 of these 3 outs off a position player,
that's really embarrassing.
That just
he's had multiple surgeries, right? Story.
Yeah. He's just been a disaster, and it sucks because he seems like a great dude. It's like it's not like it's hard to root for him. It's just not working, and it sucks.
Yeah. Well, he's on, what is it? He's on like the last 2 years of his deal.
3 years. There's 2 more after this one. So it's not ideal at all. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was like 6 years, 150 or something, 140.
It wasn't like the craziest deal ever, but it's a lot of money.
It wasn't nuts, but it's money tied in. Definitely. There's a player opt out after this season for him. He's not taking that. He's absolutely not taking that. Yeah, that's definitely a fall off that does need to be studied there, because obviously we know his old pal Nolan Arenado from Colorado. He's been good since being traded over there.
Yeah,
Story just hasn't been healthy. Like, he just has not been able to, like, since signing that contract with Boston. I'm pretty sure he's played like 200 games.
He has a point in the chat. Like, it's not like Story was ever that great, even in Colorado.
Yeah.
Like, he had a couple of good years, like you just said, but first of all, it's Coors. I wonder if that factored into
possibly
years.
It could.
And just the fact that he was never like, I don't know if he was ever someone that would age well to begin with.
Yeah, it was always when he came into the league, like he like burst onto the scenes. He was like a 20 home run, 30 home run guy.
Yeah. And
then a lot of the concerns was just continuing the swing decisions. Like, he just continues to strike out so much and just not great situational hitting. It seemed like it went down as it went to 2018, 2019. And then ever since he's come back to Boston, I mean, his career strikeout rate in Boston, I'm pretty sure, is like 31%. Like he's just like just very brutal. And I've always been someone who said that strikeouts are subjective, but you get to a certain rate that it's like, okay, this is concerning. It's like, yeah, this guy will basically offer it anything. So
it's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I didn't realize how big of a strikeout guy he was, but
that's a good parallel right there. Tulowitzki and Trevor Story to yeah.
I feel like Tulo did find some more success though than Story overall.
Yeah. Tulo was like the best shortstop in all of baseball.
Then eventually he had his injuries and then he was done.
Yeah. He was never the same. Yeah. I know he retired as a Yankee, which is so weird to think about.
That's very strange.
I thought it was a good fit for him in Toronto, but it just kind of fizzled out. Like that was just
the end of that. Yeah.
Anyways, we're going on such a tangent here. But one little piece of information, if you didn't know this, that guy who broke up the scoreless tie in Game 2, Carlos Narvaez, he is the cousin of Omar Narvaez. Did you know that?
Is he really?
Yes.
I did not know that. Oh wow.
No. Yeah.
Wait. One of them could hit.
Oh.
He's taking revenge out on you.
Yeah. Yeah, Omar gave us some great memories.
It's all Clay Holmes' fault why we lost that second game, by the way, guys.
This is unbelievable. Can't hold anybody else. I think they just got another run. No, it's finally over. It's 19-3 though. That's
a 13-run inning.
13 runs.
Holy 19 crap. Runs on 20 hits. You'll never see the Mets do that. That'll never happen.
So this is exactly what it's funny. Earlier, when we had just tied the game, and I'm thinking like it should be 10-2. Like the fact that it's not 10-2 is already frustrating. Well, I guess my prayers have been answered.
Yeah.
Oof.
Cade Povich actually pitched a pretty good game.
Yeah, he did until
what's his name? They had from the Phillies. Sir Anthony Dominguez has been. I'm pretty sure he's been a disaster since they traded over from him. We remember. I'm pretty sure Alvarez has
Gregory
a couple bombs
Soto
off of Dominguez, right? Yeah, they have Gregory Soto.
I didn't realize Alvarez has been so bad. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they are actually talking about him in the chat. We can't address this here.
I never heard
about the Orioles and disappointing guys. We could talk about Adley Rutschman too, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. Hey. Is this an Orioles show?
Well,
yeah, exactly. That's what
catchers.
I thought.
Wait, what's about overrated catchers? And apparently the Mets have the only one.
Yeah, kinda. Anyways, yeah, Mark is saying, is Alvarez overrated or poorly coached or combination of the two? Combination of the two, if you're talking about his offensive ability. Overall, as a player, I don't think he's overrated. As a bat, kinda. Yeah, I would say that. Whether he's poorly coached or not, I'm kind of disappointed from what I have seen, whether he has a good hitting coach or a bad hitting coach, because we saw him. The bat's just very suspect for me of him just leaving a lot of pitches on the table, leaving a lot of damage on the table. Just seems like when he makes contact, it should be louder than it is. That's just kind of how I see it.
Was he your top prospect? Frank, like your number one?
He was the top prospect in all of baseball at one point.
Yeah, I remember that. Because it's like Jason Dominguez and him. That's wow. Number one in all of baseball.
23 right now. He's still young, but Frank, do you think he's still, on the Piazza train, or is
I mean, he's losing track there. I mean, he's definitely not taking the right path to get to Piazza territory. As far as like poorly coached, we don't know yet because like he hasn't had another hitting coach. So until he actually has a different one, and if you saw the same results, then you'd be like, no, the guy's just not very good. But like if you have someone else, then maybe, because when he had all those home runs, Chavez is like, oh no, but that wasn't good. So it's just very strange because he's clearly making the effort to go opposite field. I mean, the game he had multiple hits in the series against the Red Sox, both singles to the opposite field. Like that was not his game coming up. Like he was not the number one prospect for hitting singles to right field. It was no doubt
hitting ropes
to left field. So
about hitting ropes.
Yeah,
it's just
not
like him being an overall hitter. Like he's a catcher. Like if you have 25 home run power from a catcher, let him use it.
You should try to take advantage.
Let him use it. Like who cares about the 220 next to his name? Who cares? Let him use that power. let him use it. And for some reason, he's just being told to use the opposite field and be, a squeamish down version of Yadier Molina. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, that is so ridiculous how he has been coached in that way. And we will talk about that certain coaching situation because of how the entire team does it, not just Alvarez, of how the entire team's approach overall, just tapping into strengths and weaknesses with this coaching team. Just, I mean, it's a complete disaster. We will have that discussion eventually. That probably will be either it's in a few weeks, maybe it's at the All-Star break, something like that, where we can talk about addressing what is actually happening behind the hood, as opposed to saying, oh, well, they're top 10 in every category, they'll get going. Philosophies still have to change. But Alvarez, I kind of like him defensively than offensively at this current moment. Like that's
was
kind
supposed to be the opposite. He was definitely supposed to be like much more of an offensive catcher than defensive, but that's not how it's gone.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate the way that we are seeing things like that happen, where you're just not tapping into that overall ceiling that he does have as a bat. And I'm not saying that he's a future MVP that can be the next, Buster Posey and the next this or that.
Which is what it seems like he should be for being a number one catching.
For being the number one prospect, it possibly is, but he had a bat that could be a world-beating bat, like a Salvador Perez type of bat. And it's just we're seeing a lot more of we're going at the trajectory of Gary Sanchez, like stuff like that. It's very possible if he doesn't tap into that potential, because I mean, he's going to be a singles hitter. What is he going to go steal bases? Like what?
Gary was like, so many balls get past him, like you almost couldn't catch him anymore. Yeah. Like at least Alvarez doesn't have that going on.
Alvarez has actually gotten better at the blocking. He's not amazing at it.
He'd be in big trouble, but.
Yeah,
you know what? If
he's not amazing at the blocking, but
if he's a catcher, then he's a catcher. Like catchers,
they still got him. They still have him doing the one knee thing. So
everyone
it's really hard to
be
doing that.
So that's not even a him thing. That's just a philosophy.
There's still things he needs to learn behind the plate, but I do think he's more refined defensively. It's more of just framing pitches, to steal strikes, basically. That's kind of how it is, to like kind of square up that part of the zone. Yeah. Keith Hernandez hates it. He hates that philosophy. He hates it. He's like, they're down on one knee. I don't like that. The base runner is go. I mean, even though we have Alvarez and Terrence who both can throw out runners pretty consistently, obviously Terrence is on a different level of that. Like, he has one of the best arms behind the plate in all of baseball. But I think there does come to think of it, when you do have some of these pitchers who can get a little bit wild, or there is maybe a cross-up, which we know that maybe cross-ups will eventually happen on this team, because at the trajectory that they are going with all these defensive miscues, roll the dice, it's eventually going to happen. Keith says singles are better than homers. Listen, Keith is our favorite boomer. All right. He doesn't listen. He's so out of touch, but we expect him to be out of touch with this game.
That's the charm. It's a charm.
It's so out of place there, but it's needed for memes. We all know Keith is there for the charisma. He's not here for his overall insight, but it all mixes together with Gary, Keith, and Ron there. As long as he doesn't go out of his way to give us statements that are not baseball related, of, back in my day of, the get off my lawn types of tropes. I think it all meshes well. But Keith still has his humor that makes him funny and makes him unhinged, and sometimes it gets him into trouble a little bit on social media. We've seen that happen a few times.
One more on Alvarez. So this season he has one home run so far. We're all aware of, down the right field line against the Washington Nationals. In 2023, when he hit 25 home runs, not a single one of them was to right field. He had 4 to right center. Everything else was pulled. So, I mean, go figure. The guy who has one home run, it's in a different location than the 25 other ones he had in 2023. That tells you
4 to center, I think. 4 to center, I think.
Yeah, he had like left center. I mean, he didn't have any dead center. Everything was just straight pull. I mean, so I mean, that tells you that he has made some changes. I don't agree with them, but this is not the same guy in 2023.
And that's his highest OPS season.
Yes, the one that Chavez said wasn't good. So go figure. I mean, like, he had the better batting average year 2.
Yeah.
He has a better batting average now than he did. I mean, here's the crazy thing for you. He's like such a failure. His batting average up 40 points from 2 seasons ago, but the OPS is down even more than that. So it's like it doesn't.
That sounds like a power hitting catcher that they're trying to turn into a contact hitter.
Yeah.
Ha!
So that's kind of where.
Well, that stinks. Huh,
it's
that
like,
stinks.
Is Chavez happy now? He's like, oh well, he's not hitting under 220. He's hitting at least 250. Oh well.
No, he's too busy signing autographs because he thinks he's so good. Yeah.
Who?
Oh yeah, he's talking. What was he talking about? Donuts or something on.
The hitting coach does like to talk about donuts and post about
he just flaps his lips. That's all he does. And we'll give a lot of instances where he does. No, he thinks that he needs to sign autographs. It's like invisible ego. You know what I mean? Like those guys who just think, they think that they're so amazing, but they're not. Remember that home run off of Jason Adam where he turned on a hanging slider? He doesn't try to do that
anymore. Or the
anymore.
walk-off against Sir Anthony. I mean, it was the same thing. I mean, he pulled that thing. Like, no opposite field there.
This is my shit. What did he do? Like he pointed down or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was aura. Like everyone loved it.
Yeah, and now this year it's just not the same.
It's just
you can't get aura out of singles.
He's just here to play the right way now, like all the old folks did back in 1972 when Frank was 12. Anyways,
good old days.
Anyways, and the Red Sox won 19-5. So 19 runs on 20 hits.
They better not wasted all their runs. They still got to play again a little later on.
Yeah. Oh, they have a double
energy.
This is a double.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, how's Jose? Wait a minute. Where's Jose Siri?
Injured.
We'll get to him later on.
We'll get to him in a second, actually. Frank, I'll turn over for you for the injury report. We did get an update on Frankie Montas just as we started off. So if you want to read that one off from Anthony DiComo instead of that, I could copy and paste it in if you want me to.
No, I got it.
You can flip flop. Okay.
I could
just making sure.
Flop.
Helping the elderly. All right. To StreamYard. The graphic stuff.
Yep. We're just gonna pop it up here. Frank's gonna give the injury report on some of our guys. Yeah. Cool.
I should probably get something.
So Frank, the stage is yours.
Thank you. So starting off with Sean Manaea, that starting pitcher, threw his third bullpen session on Wednesday that included multiple up-downs. The next step in his progression to throw to live hitters is currently to be determined, but he continues to move in the right direction. The 33-year-old left-handed has been on the injured list since the beginning of March after suffering a right oblique strain in the first week of spring training. Frankie Montas. So the newest update is that he will begin a minor league rehab assignment tomorrow with High A Brooklyn. Barring a setback, then he should be activated for his Mets debut within the next 30 days. So at least one of these starting pitchers is really getting closer. Paul Blackburn, another pitcher, Mets right-hander, made his 6th rehab start for AAA Syracuse on Wednesday afternoon, tossing 7 innings, giving up 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts on 87 pitches. The Mets are expected to make a decision on Blackburn's potential activation this week, with his role on the pitching staff still to be determined. The 31-year-old has been on the injured list since the week of opening day due to right knee inflammation. Jose Siri, Mets outfielder, has been sprinting, throwing from up to 120 feet, and hitting against velocity in the batting cages as he continues to progress ahead of schedule, where he was expected to miss 8 to 10 weeks. Siri was placed on the injured list back on April the 12th due to a fractured tibia bone in his left leg that he suffered after fouling a ball off his shin in West Sacramento. So
there's your update on Jose Siri there.
Oh my God! Someone just tweeted. This is literally my thoughts. Never seen a tight quad and so much existential dread on the timeline before.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. Hey, you should have seen Twitter when Jacob deGrom would come out of starts. It was a it was a environment like nothing before. I mean, he should
Remember
be
when he
fine,
hyperextended his elbow with the Mets,
I can
and it was like
imagine.
he was back right away, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's his elbow! He's done!" Like,
Remember when we had the
was.
report that he hurt himself from them holding his arm in the wrong position with the MRI machine?
Oh my gosh.
That's when he got the nickname the MRI. Remember that's when it came. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so glad that's done. Listen, I'm pretty sure
He's dealing
Jake
now,
was in
though.
New York. Jake was in New York to pitch against the Yankees. He pitched all right. I love you, Jake, but that's that shit that I do not miss. I don't miss that at all. Yeah. So Daniel's saying Montas at the end of June. Gotcha. Yes. So he's getting close. He's ahead of Manaya, which it looked like Manaya at one point was going to come back, but he had a setback during his rehab in like late April or mid-April. So Montas will be back before the All-Star break. Manaya, I'd say the middle of July, end of July. That's probably where I would estimate it.
Like around this All-Star.
Could be later.
Like
Who knows?
Who knows?
Could be more of the timeline that we saw last time from Kodai Senga, where I'm pretty sure he came back. What was it? In August or something. Yeah. It was very late, and let's just hope that he doesn't get hurt. They clearly do not want to activate Blackburn. It's possible 6 rehab starts, because I saw something where like, oh, he could do a 7th. It was like, all right, can we cut the losses here?
But what is it that they're looking for? Because you're not going to get a better stat line from him than that.
All right, here's how we can wrap up. Here's how we can wrap up the Paul Blackburn situation. The guy that they traded away, Cade Morris, to the A's. He has in Double-A this year a 2.60 earned run average in 45 innings pitched. So I'd say that if you're judging this off of the tenure of David Stearns, this is probably the worst move that he's made out of all of them. Joey Wendell's up there.
He didn't give up a top 10 prospect, so I mean, you got to applaud him for that.
Well, yeah, obviously. But I mean,
that was the whole thing that was so great about the deadline. Listen, the winner of the deadline
prospects are like Thin Mints, man. No, they're so valuable.
Brazovan is his like gold jewel of the trade deadline last year, because that was the one that looked the worst. Actually, the best move he made.
Yeah, it was looking pretty rough last year, but the guy that they traded away in that one, Wilfredo Lara, I think he's still in High A, and he has a 64 weighted runs created plus in High A. So
the Marlins made a bad trade. I am shocked.
That is so shocking. They even made a bad trade with us with David Robertson. Like David Robertson was not good for them.
Yep.
Yeah, they if we talk about trades that the Mets never get fleeced from, it's usually the Marlins, right? Has there ever been a bad one? Because like we got Piazza from them.
That's
right. Yeah. We got Piazza from them. Who was the other guy that we got? I mean, we got Jordan Yamamoto, right? That didn't work out, but I don't think anything we sent it over there.
Yeah. Just in general, we know that they lose a ton of trades, though. Like it's what they do.
Yeah, they've definitely made a decent amount of trades.
Their best one, honestly, is probably Stanton, because they got out of that contract and he just broke apart.
Jeff Brigham.
AJ Ramos, that's another good one. AJ Ramos is another good one. Yeah.
Get him. Oh God, that's rough. I'm pretty sure there was one other one that was very, because we're looking at around the league, the Mets and the Marlins. What is it? Trade history. They've made a decent amount of trades.
Yeah,
Jeff Brigham, and we had Eliezer Hernandez, who never threw a pitch for us.
But
yeah. Well,
and
obviously
they made another bad one with Luzardo, because he is going off for the Phillies, so they just continue to make bad moves.
The Marlins just, oh God. Let's see. The Mets did claim Yohan Lopez from them, so that was a good one.
Oh, there you go. Of course.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a disaster.
We acquired Al Leiter from them. Oh my God, this is embarrassing. I'm sorry if there's any Marlins fans in here. I apologize. This is rough. Did we get we got Delgado from them too, right?
I believe so. It wasn't Marlins.
Wasn't that the Mike Jacobs trade, right?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Or LaDuca, it might have been, because wasn't he in Marlin as well?
Oh my God, that is rough,
Yeah.
man. All right, but one thing I will say, they did get get Stephen Tarpley from them, so that's the big one.
Oh,
Um, and they did steal Eric Campbell from us, who hit the ball very, very hard. So, oh, we also got Ramon Castro from them.
he was.
So
That was good
that's a
backup
big
catch.
one. Yeah. Anyways, but let's actually get into the meat of this episode, and that being kind of the drama that we saw on the stage this week. We saw two things happen at Fenway. And as to what we are seeing here, I want to start off with the Juan Soto stuff, because obviously this is more of a big topic. It hasn't been resolved because we did see some stuff afterwards of what happened with Lindor and Buehler. But with Juan Soto in this whole situation, obviously in the first year of a big contract, we did get some quotes about from Mendoza and Juan Soto, kind of a little bit of a back and forth here. So what happened was Juan Soto thought he got a hold of a fly ball off the Green Monster. It ended up not. He was not hustling out of the box, and obviously, as Isaac will tell you, and plenty of Red Sox fans will tell you, you got to hustle out of the box if something goes off of the Green Monster, or it's going to end up being a single no matter what. It's going to be a long single, and that's what it ended up being. We also saw this flare up a little bit in Yankee Stadium as well. So I do want to give up a little bit of a recap of what happened here. They asked Mendoza about that lack of hustle after the fly ball off the Green Monster, and Mendoza ended up saying that we will talk to him about it tonight. Obviously, if someone gets a hold of one and knows when he gets it, it would be Juan Soto. He said he thought he had it with the wind and all that in this ballpark, anywhere in anyone, but particularly one with that big wall right there, you've got to get out of the box. Now, Soto did say in response about his awareness on the base pass, saying that it's a really short Green Monster. I tried to get to second, but it was not enough. I think I've been hustling pretty hard. If you saw it today, you can tell. So a little bit of a pushback there from his manager. Now, when this first topic came to glance, there was another play in the finale of Yankee Stadium. The game was tied at 2 before everything came crashing down in that 8th inning. But in the top of that inning, Soto did not fully run out a ground ball to second base that required a diving stop and a tough angle for somebody such as DJ LeMahieu. And that was in that series finale. So that was definitely the first thing that came to light. And then we saw it off of the Green Monster as well. So it has definitely been a lot of discussion with Juan Soto of, is he happy here? He's not smiling. He's not shuffling. He's not this. He's got this big contract. He's underperforming. There's so many different angles that you can go at this, obviously. Frank, I'll go to you with Mendoza's comment, because we've talked about Soto underperforming so far this year. It's very easy to say so, but obviously the lack of hustle is something that will never, and I mean never, go by slick in New York. Lack of hustle, fans will hate you for it till the day you die. If you continue to do things like that, especially New York fans, not to mention with $800 million attached to your name. So definitely odd. I'm not trying to say that I don't think that there's any conflict between Mendoza and Soto with those types of comments, but out of what we have seen so far, stuff like this cannot be happening. I think you can agree with that.
I mean, it can't be happening, but it continues to happen, and no one is going to hold him accountable. I mean, you got a bunch of nice guys on this team that they let this stuff go on, no problem. And I've been disappointed, too, in our captain, Francisco Lindor, who continues to not slide into second base. I mean, how many times could we have, and all these double plays we've been to, there are times we could have avoided these double plays, or he could just been safe at second if he would slide. Doesn't do it. How many errors has Lindor made at shortstop? Careless errors, just flat out mental mistakes, routine plays, just not fully focused. No problem. He's the captain. nobody holds him accountable. Brendan Nemo is like the nicest guy in the world. He's a leader in some ways, but if someone's not hustling, you're not going to hold him accountable. There's just nobody around this team that could hold everyone to a certain standard. I said it before, but when Jose Iglesias left, and not for what he does on the field, when JD Martinez left, you had no veteran leadership. You cannot have Starling Marte be your veteran leader when he is the king of not sprinting, not hustling, because it just becomes an acceptable standard. That is what everyone does. Soto couldn't get away with it with the Yankees because he had Aaron Judge, who actually holds people accountable and will say, listen, we can't do that here. We have a standard. He does not have the strong leadership around him. Mendoza's not going to do it because he's like, oh, we're going to talk to him. Yet it continues to happen.
I'm kind of surprised with that, though. That's the thing. I remember Mendoza being the one to get on Gleyber Torres when he wasn't running
because
out,
that's Gleyber Torres. It's different when it's and Gleyber's been doing well for Detroit. It's nothing against Gleyber, but there's a difference between Gleyber Torres and $800 million Juan Soto.
Oh yeah,
you can't say anything to the Golden Boy. You can't. You can't hold him accountable. No. Everything is fine. He does
same thing with Jeff McNeil, right?
But McNeil always hustles, though. At least give him credit. He is the one guy that he does always hustle. So I'll give him.
He looks kind of weird when he does it, so I don't care.
Yeah, and Nemo hustles too. Nemo always hustles, but
he hustles some of the other guys, on walks.
Exactly. Some of the other guys they don't, and no one's holding them accountable. It just continues to happen over and over and over. And Jose Iglesias, he ran out everything, no matter what. Even if it was the weakest hit ground ball, he ran it out. And what he did in the locker room, and JD Martinez has said this, but he was just a guy who was always talking, just in a good way, just like always holding everyone accountable, just like the vocal guy in the clubhouse, been there, done that. There's just not that vocal guy who just keeps everyone together. Because remember, when the Mets fell apart, it was when they called up Iglesias. That was one of the big things that got them going. Now they're on a decline in second place now. There's no veteran that's going to come up here and get them going. There's no rally song. There's no OMG. There's nothing. Like I'd say they've lost a lot of their flair. They really have.
But that, you know what? Here's the Yeah, I will say with that though, like that didn't come along until midway through the season.
It was in June.
And so and then even after that, the Mets didn't really catch fire until the last like couple months, right? Last year. They didn't really fully show that they were like, okay, this is.
I don't blame them for the whole I don't blame them for wanting to let go of Iglesias because like even though if you're just going to talk about overall production, he has not been great for San Diego.
Yeah, no, it's not what he does on the field. It's not about what he does on the field. It's about what he could do.
If he wasn't doing what he was doing on the field, they would have gotten rid of him, no matter if he had the OMG song or not. Last year, but last year. That was a career year for him.
He actually was good hitting wise,
no doubt.
Yeah, that's the difference there.
They need some sort of.
Yeah, that's the thing. We will get into that because I think that kind of clues into it. But when it comes to this,
well, the other thing too, like the other thing about Soto that really drove me nuts was when he said he was sprinting, and it's like. Well, listen, Juan.
Don't lie to me.
We have StatCast that shows your whole career, and the numbers say otherwise. You are not sprinting. So, for him to just lie when people have access to the data that shows that he's
wrong, to be fair,
we have a hitting coach that doesn't look at that.
Hasn't he?
So
hasn't he been stealing bases more too, though?
He has been, and he kind of made up for that.
Picked off. He should be getting picked off because he takes off way too early and just.
Yeah. I think it just catches these pitchers by surprise. I don't know.
Right.
Or maybe he just takes it from guys who just take forever to get to the plate.
Yeah, they're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Because they don't expect it to.
Yeah, and that's kind of how he made up for that not hustling off of the wall there, where he took second, which, again, is fine in the record books and takes away the double play. That's good. But, again, there has to be some accountability there. And, I do remember Mendoza being talked about as somebody who would talk about, things with players of when they're not hustling, because again, those are the little things that can definitely, ruin the structure of a game or ruin the sound structure of a team. Because the little things that this team has not been able to do has costed them as well, in the margins where you're looking at 20 losses on this team, and a majority of them are winnable because of, mental errors that they make, or they're just not getting that last hit. But I think it does come to show that there is a limit here, and I don't want this to become a situation where and I'll clue you in here with this, Isaac. I think that this is my main fear of this is I don't want this to become a situation where we're talking about it. Well, that's just Juan Soto. Because if that's just Juan Soto, we just gave $800 million to a guy that we have to say that's Juan Soto and he has all of these flaws in the first year of the contract. So that's also, definitely the concern Soto, I have of I don't want him to just get away with this because he's that golden guy. You need to be held accountable if you don't hustle out those types of things, especially when you have 26-year-old legs.
Yeah, he used to be but I don't know. Again, like he isn't doing the shuffle. He doesn't seem to be as like gleeful as he always is. And and it comes back to, I think, just him not crushing it. I think once if he like goes on a crazy run, he gets 4 homers in a week, goes off. It's like I think he'll start getting back to the kind of vibe around him that we all know. Because Soto never seemed like a guy who didn't hustle. Not that he was ever like a quick guy. But he wasn't ever like, oh, I'm just going to like a Machado. I don't know. It wasn't like.
Yeah. Machado is open about not hustling. Like he's actually open about it. Like he say, I'm here to play 162. I'm not here to get hurt, which is an attitude that if you brought him to New York, if you brought Machado to New York, he would be out of here in a second. Like they would not let him live. Like, we had a similar situation with Robinson Cano, but, like, Cano was in his 30s. Like, he couldn't move that well when he came over here. And apparently he was... And it seemed like he was only moving so well in 2020 when he was taking steroids, which, figure. But, with Soto, he's never been fast. But, it's just... to have that, mentality to try that extra mile, they are missing it. They are definitely missing it. It's a thing where, he came in with like average percentile speed. Frank just put in the chat that his sprint speed's down to the 22nd percentile. Again, like.
No, it's down 22 percentiles from last year. It's in the 14th percentile this year.
It's also in the 14th. It's in the 14th right now.
Yeah, so it's saying he was 36 last year. Yeah. So yeah, and it's kind of weird because in 2019 he was like 60. So he's getting slow very rapidly. Like I say, he's 26, but he is getting slow.
Yeah, it's almost like he's playing like he's like 35 years old. It's really weird.
Yeah, sprint speed down from 27 in 2019 to 25.7 now. Like,
yeah, and that's odd with him having 6 stolen bases on the year.
It just, I don't know. I don't buy that he's like unhappy. Like, why the hell? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
I think he's struggling. He's taking on a lot of a $800 million contract, which makes sense.
Well, Kyle Tucker also, but like we know, there's more that goes into stolen bases because Kyle Tucker has 14 stolen bases. He's in the 29th percentile sprint speed. Like, there's an art to doing it. Like there are guys who are not the fastest who can still swipe bags, and we know Ahmed Rosario's guys who do have speed that can't steal very well. So it's like it could kind of go either way.
We know pretty well.
But I think with Soto, it was just more frustrating. Like, if he's not happy here, whatever. But he was so happy talking to the Yankees over the weekend. I mean, he was smiling with the catchers, chatting up with Judge. I mean, he's having a grand old time.
It's looking like his version of Francisco Lindor's first year here. Like, Lindor has had his different types of things where they try to, with the mental psyche, bring in his best friend and Javier Baez. They had the whole thumbs down thing. He had the whole thing with... what is Soto's version of the raccoon incident where they're getting in each other's fit? Like that's where I feel
behind me. Basically throwing Pete Alonso under the bus.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I think it's nearsighted in this way of every time that these guys come to the Mets, there's always this 1 year, the first year, where they just are either the worst version of themselves on or off the field. And like, it's always like this annoying adjustment period, which is not an excuse at all. It's not an excuse, but it's an adjustment period that is so brutal to watch. You know that eventually everything is going to be okay. But, however, it just stirs up so much controversy, whether it's on the field or off the field, of him underperforming or this or that. I don't want to go through another year of that Lindor in 2021 because there was a lot of drama. Lindor had a lot to learn. He did have a lot to learn in there from that first year. And he kind of, elevated himself into the leader that he has been. But again, with Lindor here, it's like, does he want to cross the $800 million man? It doesn't look like he wants to at this current moment. And I just don't want to get into this situation where, yes, Juan Soto, he's a competitor. He has the pedigree of what he has done in such little time in the major leagues, but he still is a professional hitter. We know that he is. I don't want this to get into the habit of, well, that's just Juan Soto for you. Like, we can say, like, oh, well, that's just Mark Vientos for you. He's slow. He's swing, but he's not making $800 million. Like, if we're talking about from all aspects of the game, we know his defense isn't great. We know it's not.
7th percentile in range.
Yeah, 7th percentile in overall range. He's not great in right field. Has a decent arm, though.
Even his arm is not as good as it was in the past, too, by the numbers.
He's not really making that many throws. So
it's almost like he said in the chat, I am the same. Yeah. It's like, did a Nationals announcer say that? I don't remember. I don't know when that was said, but
I don't know.
It definitely seems like to be the case, though.
I'm not disagreeing with it. Like,
I mean, maybe because he
did
so young, he technically has like a 30-year-old body, even though he is 26, just because he did get to the majors so early. Maybe
it's like Aaron Nola, looking so old when
they would know. Look, I think because a lot of players lie about, like obviously like Pujols, right? I honest to God think he was like 5 years older than he said he was.
Possibly.
I mean,
wasn't there that guy in the NBA, Thon Maker? Everyone thought he was like 35 or something.
There's been some weird age things. So.
Like, and Soto's always looked a little older than he is, but I mean,
facially, he's always had the baby face. Like, he's always had the baby face.
Yes and no. I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. He's always kind of. Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. But
like Rafael Devers.
We'll see. Like Devers looks like a child. He still does. Like, he still has the baby face. But
I don't really look at him as
strike of innocence.
Yeah, right.
We're still seeing the Juan Soto of hitting tools, obviously translating to the underlying numbers, which makes me feel it's like, okay, it's gonna be fine. But however, it's gonna be a long road until we see it visually. And we did get a post from somebody, one of the illegitimate guys, who said something from the Scott Boras mouthpiece here. Hold on. There was something from Mike Rodriguez, who's actually been accurate.
Yeah, could we also just make sure that everyone here knows, like, in case they don't, that the whole Juan Soto on the private jet thing was fake? Like, that was just
it was
accurate.
Jeff Passan confirmed that. Yeah, yes,
just so if anyone didn't see that, like, that whole thing was fake. Like,
that was fake.
Of course,
which
Sunday Night Baseball, just like, they just say stuff. Like, they just say things that are flat out not true, and people believe it. Because, they said it on the broadcast. It has to be right.
Hey, ESPN is owned by Disney. Come on, don't fuck with the mouse. Come on, don't fuck with the mouse. Anyways, there was.
Are you a man or a mouse?
Yeah. Are you a man or a mouse? Anyways, Mike Rodriguez on Twitter said something from Scott Boras. He said he mentions that he could have gotten more money from Boston, Juan Soto, because there was some talk about that. He also emphasizes that Soto is in the process of familiarizing himself with the crown, although he acknowledges that he needs at least another month to fully adapt, which is not something that I want to hear from my $800 million player. Despite this, Boras said that he warned Soto about the challenge, assuring him of that in the end he will be fine, which, again, long-term with Soto, I don't have worries about it because I know eventually he's going to produce like Juan Soto. The problem is the way that this is being distracted and the way that this is being covered, as specifically from the media. I feel like it just separates from just baseball in general. Like that's and I'm not putting the blame on the media because Soto has to be better.
But that's what it was though. I mean, because what happened was over the weekend you had a game on Fox, you had a game on ESPN, like the national TV games. All they talked about was Soto, and it was like Soto and the Yankees, Soto and not hustling with the Mets. Like it was not about Mets versus Yankees at all. It had nothing to do with the Mets. It all had to do with Juan Soto. And just like it totally took away from the focus of the team, that it was just crazy.
Yeah, it's more of just like putting the things that you need to put to light. And I didn't need to see, oh, well, he was such great friends with. I don't care who he's friends with. Hit the baseball. I don't care. Like,
what's funny,
I don't need to hear that
at
extra
first
stuff.
It was like,
you know?
oh, Soto hated Judge, and actually his family was like kicked out, and everyone hates the Yankees on Soto's family. Now it's like the opposite. It's like, I don't think anyone knows anything. You know, I mean, how many times was it like, oh, he's going to the Red Sox, he's going to here, he's going to there. It's like nobody knew anything. You know, Steve Cohen didn't even know. Steve didn't even know what was going on.
He said that. Yeah, he's like in the last hour. Yeah.
He didn't. He thought Soto. He thought they missed out. He thought Soto was going back. I mean, like that just tells you everything. So, yeah, I think Soto obviously should be fine. It's Juan Soto. Like he struggled a little bit with the Padres too, and then was crazy good after. So it's like,
I just feel like I'm getting a viewing experience that I don't want to start off with. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to.
Sure. It's definitely a little bit of. It's not the first.
It's overwhelming. Let's just say that because obviously it adds to the story. Because Lindor comes over here from Cleveland, they trade for him, new ownership. There was a lot to move out, obviously. Soto, they get him from the Yankees. It's a whole story that I think is just becoming so overwhelming that like we just want to see the guy play baseball.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we absolutely want the Wilpons back. By the way, on this, I saw something on Mets Rewind. Great Twitter account, by the way, for those of you who like Mets history. What was on this day in 2011? Fred Wilpon did an interview with the Daily News or whatever, and he was basically talking shit about Beltran, Reyes, and Wright, basically calling the Mets a shitty team and saying Wright is a good kid, but he's not a superstar. So like that was what we were dealing with there.
Wow.
Obviously, you always have the media nightmares.
Yeah,
was this recently or was this years ago?
No, it was 2011.
That was 2011.
Okay. So when he was still on, okay.
Mm-hmm. But David Wright was someone that held people accountable, like a true leader does. But this is the risk you run when
threw Syndergaard's lunch away.
He sure did. No lunch for you, sir. This is the risk you do run if
never
you
heard
go
that
for,
story.
But the thing is that Soto is in general like a quiet guy, like Lindor is not. So
we had the same stuff with DeGrom too. Like the New York Post tried to push it out. It's like, oh, he hated it here. He didn't return Billy Epler's text, which I wouldn't either. Billy Epler's a moron. But again, it's more of just the fact it's like nobody like Jacob DeGrom is the most standoffish. He's the most socially awkward person known to man. How does anybody know what is going on? I'm not denying that he wanted to be here or not. I'm not in the guy's head.
A lot of pitchers tend to be, by the way. Have you noticed a lot of pitchers tend to be like...
And we had Scherzer, one of the weirdest guys we could have. Yeah. Like one of the weirdest guys in the league. We had him too. And Bassett.
What's his name? From the... he was on a Hall of Fame trajectory. Greinke. Like he's don't even touch the guy. Like don't even go anywhere near him.
That's why he never was a Met or Yankee.
And it does make sense with pitchers because like the game starts with you. Like the pitch, like it's all on you. You're in the middle here. You're on the mound. You're in the middle of the game, and it all starts with you. So it makes sense as to why they would be standoffish or need to focus in. It's a mental game. Something that we saw on full display, like guys like Tyler McGill, which. I like, but mentally,
yeah.
So, what do you think about the XBA though? Because he's so unlucky. He should be batting 303, but he's hitting 243. Like, what's the deal with that? So
these hits should be falling.
Yeah,
fam.
Yeah, like he should be. The fact that he took
here's the thing.
He struck out twice.
Here's the thing.
Looking at every one of those pitches, that was crazy.
And then when he finally swung, it was in the other batter's box.
Here's the thing about expected batting average.
That is really weird. That is fishy.
Here's the thing about expected batting average and why I don't use it is because it literally credits to it doesn't credit to launch angle at all. Like you can hit something so hard on the ground.
So you keep hitting 110s on the ground. It's like, oh well, and that's the thing that people keep saying. Everyone's saying, oh, the hard hit rate.
Yeah.
But he's hitting on.
There's been some sweet spot line drives.
Giancarlo Stanton, I think, hit the hardest ball in the history of baseball, and it was like a most routine ground ball ever to second base. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
yep.
I did.
It's the hardest.
Sure, it wasn't an easy
didn't
play
O'Neal
for the
Cruz
second baseman, but it looked easy. It just was right to him.
Didn't
O'Neal
O'Neal Cruz
did
pass
hit
him,
one
or like
very
he came
hard.
close, right?
Oh,
O'Neal
he
Cruz
definitely
is a
has
freak,
come
by the way.
close. Oh, he's a.
Oh,
O'Neal Cruz
there we
is a freak.
go. You
That's
have,
what he. I'm
saying
so
that-
I'm happy to see him reaching his potential more this year
Yeah.
because O'Neal Cruz top that naturally, but he's only hit he's like 20 homers a year. I think a lot of that is because he's probably just swinging. And
Yeah, we have a
so much,
similar
right?
guy
Like,
right now who's
make
coming close to
contact.
returning.
If he makes more contact, he hits the ball harder. Except he's having trouble making the contact. But this year, I think he's been better. I mean,
he's just a pure. He's just a pure power specimen. Like that. That's what a guy like O'Neal Cruz is. I mean, we have somebody similar in that play style of a free swinger, an oversized infielder in Ronnie Mauricio, who's coming back from a torn ACL injury, and he's playing right now. There was actually rumors about him being called up yesterday, but they ended up not being true. Andy Martino did his usual crap on everything to any joy of Mets fans. But
wait, what was the report that he?
Yeah, so Ronnie Mauricio's put something out on Instagram yesterday about him, being in New York or something, and everyone thought he was getting called up or something, and he wasn't. Andy Martino comes out. Yeah, Ronnie Mauricio. He's one of our prospects who has been in the organization for a long time. Yeah, this is very true. Anyways, but when it comes to him, he has that type of tools from all angles that need to be tapped into, and there's still things that he does need to improve on, more basically the overall swing decisions, but he will swing the bat. Like he's aggressive, and I hope it always just seems like, I mean, to be honest, I'm seeing our young guys have better situational hitting skills than some of the old guys. I mean, we've seen Beatty do pretty well in some of these situations. I'm not going to lie. And listen, I am not a Beatty fan whatsoever, but we've seen Beatty do well in these situations. We've seen Alvarez drive in a few. Vientos was last year. So who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
But what did you say, Isaac? What did you say?
Beatty hasn't been that great.
Beatty's last few days, he's been great, so he's automatically the future superstar in Mets fans' eyes. No, Beatty's actually, Beatty has actually shown that he's like.
Wait, he's what?
He's
Wait,
shown
what
himself as an MLB
superstar?
hitter for the last few weeks. Yeah, everyone thought he was the big superstar. The second place, or what was it? The first place, Brody Van Wegen into your guy Chaim Bloom, who drafted. Beatty, who failed fifth grade or something. What was the whole thing with him? I don't even know. He was drafted as a 19-year-old. He was drafted as a 19-year-old high schooler. Whole thing was especially. He was expected to be so advanced or whatever.
What?
I mean, recently Beatty's been okay. I will say Beatty has been okay. But either way. Speaking of performance and other stuff, I do want to get into the other piece of controversy. For those of you in here, by the way, make sure to leave a like on the stream if you have not already. Subscribe. Make sure to subscribe and follow Isaac as well. His links are in the description. Thank you to him for joining us for a long-winded discussion of Mets, Red Sox, and overall MLB drama, like we said. And speaking of that MLB drama, let's get into the other point. Now, we had some stuff go on with Lindor and Walker Buehler this week in the second game of this series. Now, we had a little bit of a back and forth with them. It actually wasn't really a back and forth. It was more of just reaction to reaction. But I do want to go into some of the stuff that went on for those of you who did not see it. Now, Walker Buehler was pitching against the Mets in Game 2. And in the third inning, Buehler ended up hitting Lindor in an 0-2 pitch on the back/left foot, whatever you want to say, from the left side of the plate. Buehler seemed to disagree with it, and he kind of believed that Lindor may have leaned into the pitch. You saw Lindor steal second base on a 1-0 pitch to Soto, which was in the zone, but it ended up being called ball two. You had Buehler argue, and he was ejected by home plate umpire Mike Estabrook. Red Sox manager Alex Cora was also ejected in defense of Buehler, what a manager usually does, and replay ended up showing in response of Lindor kind of waving and encouraging celebrating the injection of Buehler and Cora. Now, we had a little bit of a response to Buehler on X the next day, basically saying about this was, in response to Lindor's reaction, saying, I wouldn't want me out there either. Sad thing is, the bullpen is full of fucking animals. It's a tough choice. Now, we did get a little bit of a follow-up on this on the Alex Cora side, who was also ejected, like we said. He said on WEEI Afternoon that he had breakfast with Lindor this morning, or the following morning, a few days ago at this current moment, and they were laughing about Lindor urging to throw out both Buehler and Cora, and that was via Rob Bradford on X. So it seemed like it was a little bit resolved in that. I know that Cora and Lindor have like a friendship, like they are friends, because I'm pretty sure Alex Cora, and this Frank, don't if you can correct me here if I'm wrong. He had to be part
of the Puerto Rico coaches.
He was the general manager for the WBC team for Team Puerto Rico in 2017 or something. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, so this could be, fact check me if I'm wrong. I am pretty sure Cora and Lindor are both from the same city in Puerto Rico. They were both
that I don't know.
I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure. I am pretty sure.
I would just say it's the,
let's see.
Fellow Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, I can see. But overall takeaways from this, obviously, again, your fellow countrymen, Frank, you hear, am I going to have to be the moderator here between you and Isaac? You guys going to throw hands here? What were your overall thoughts with this? Because again, this kind of does clue in back to like something that maybe Buehler screamed at Lindor back when he was on the Dodgers. Apparently, that's what people are directing it towards. So it was so odd. I have a little bit of a take on it, but I want to hear what you think. Obviously, weird situation. Let's just say that. Very, very odd. Did not expect that to flare up the way that it did.
Yeah, I was really surprised the way the whole thing transpired. I mean, I thought it was just like a simple, and listen, Buehler was right. The ball was right down the middle on the pitch that he got ejected from. But because Lindor was trying to steal second, and they showed, I really like this new like umpire like body cams, but they showed it from the umpire camera. Once the catcher stood up, he could not see. Like the umpire's vision was totally blocked by the catcher's helmet. So he did not know where that ball even was. So he just said ball, even though it was down the middle. He couldn't see. So it's like Lindor swiped second, fine. And then Buehler's like, what is going on here? That's right down the middle. So they have their disagreement. Yeah. And I thought Lindor was just like kind of being a fan in a sense, because that's what I do. I'm just like, yeah, throw him out. Like it's just like for fun. But Buehler seems to have just taken it very, very seriously. You know what? And it's fine because it's like if he doesn't like the Mets, that's okay. Like, not everyone's gonna like each other. I mean, we've heard plenty of guys say bad things about the Mets or about certain players in any team. That's part of the game. It happens. So I don't think it's much of a story, to be honest with you. I thought it was more so like it is what it is. I mean, Buehler's right. The Red Sox bullpen did really well that night, so it was fine. But I don't think Lindor was like, oh my gosh, I need Buehler to be thrown out or for me to have a chance. So what am I gonna do? I don't think
he has a good history against Buehler, right?
Yeah,
he has.
So I think he was terrified of him. I don't think he was like leaning into the pitch because he so desperately needs to get on base against him because there's no other way he could do it. I mean, I don't think that was the case, but
I have to lean into this pitch so Soto can grind into a double play.
Let me steal second and block the catch and block the umpire is what happens. So, it's just a whole combination of things. It happened like so quickly. Like it's just like, he's getting kind of frustrated and then it's like, boom, stolen base, and goodbye, everyone. And then Cora came in defending his player, like you said, like you should.
Yeah.
You should defend your players. That would be nice to see. And then, like I said, Cora and Lindor had breakfast. Everything's fine. So, I mean, unfortunately, like, it's an interleague thing, so I don't know if Buehler will really face the Mets again this season. Like, maybe not. So, it's probably going to end up being more of a non-story of anything.
Okay, so apparently Walker Buehler is admitting that that tweet that he put out there, he had a little bit extra juice in him. So I'm guessing they said he
Oh,
was okay.
Really?
Interesting.
I think
And
I
for
might have
those of
missed
you who are wondering what that juice may be, we're going to say it's apple juice. So
Huh.
I don't know. I'm seeing that on Sports Illustrated right now. I just looked it up
Huh.
because I was looking at Lindor's history against Walker Buehler, and that ended up coming up. And also, Cora and Lindor are both from, I don't want to say that. Let me see if I can get the pronunciate here. Uh,
Walker's pretty outspoken. Like he goes on Twitter a
Caguas? Did I
lot.
say
I
that
like
right?
him. That's why partly why I like him
Yeah.
a lot. He has a personality. He's fun.
I've never been the biggest fan of Walker Buehler. Like as a pitcher, he just underwhelms me a lot. I didn't want them to sign him. I thought we were getting another McGill with runners on base. Um, but like we knew that the Mets, like it was revealed in that like documentary that put out of the pursuit of Juan Soto that Walker Buehler had like a proposal, like what was it, like a presentation like designed to him or whatever. So I guess the Mets were interested in Walker Buehler. I'm not a Walker Buehler fan. Um, like when it comes to Buehler again,
You
he
don't
had
think
every
was
right
like
to be upset. He had every
he
right to
was
be upset there. Yeah.
he was lights out on
Um,
the Dodgers
he was
before he got
for a
hurt.
second, and then he got hurt. Yeah.
I mean,
I,
for several years. I mean, well, 20.
he was good for a while. He was good for a little
Yeah,
bit.
and then he ended up
I just
Tommy
didn't
John. He
think it
hasn't
was
quite
ace
been the
level type
same,
of
and he's
stuff.
trying to get back to
Yeah,
yeah.
I just never thought it was ace level stuff. Like I didn't think it was like, oh yeah, let's pass the torch from Kershaw to Bueller. Like I never saw
No,
that in
yeah,
him.
like in more of a
Like
two or
and
three. Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
and most of it is more of just the mentality thing too, like of things like this where I feel like he's very high strung in that way. Like I just feel like he doesn't carry himself as that certain ace, and it gets a little bit annoying and there's some antics in that way. But again, in this certain instance, he had every right to be upset. Obviously, you argue with the umpire. The umpire is going to say, "Oh, you do not, you know, respect my authority." Like
Sure.
Eric Cartman is going to toss you out. But I mean, I know Isaac, you were saying, you weren't too pleased with what Lindor was doing. I wasn't pleased with it either, just because of the certain context. But I mean, what were your overall thoughts on them? Because again, Lindor was being a
What's
little
the
bit of
word?
a fan, as Frank was saying. Like, toss him out. Go ahead, do it.
Yeah, I really was upset at first, but then after Cora said he went to lunch with or breakfast with him or whatever, like whatever, I don't care. I'd be fun to see Bueller face off against Lindor again, but I wonder what happened. I think in that clip, was it really just as simple as Bueller getting fired up, Lindor kind of staring back at him, and then Bueller looked and
No
said
clue.
"f off" or something probably, and that was
It
really
was
probably
something like
that.
that.
So maybe it
Yeah.
boiled over a little bit, and he was like, still Lindor was still a little upset about that. I don't know, but um, yeah, I think it's just a classic case of like just being competitors,
Yeah.
being competitive, and guys are gonna do things that they don't normally do, and whatever. But yeah, because I like Francisco Lindor I've always really liked him. I did call him overrated, and that was stupid to do. In hindsight, he's not. He's very good.
Hey, you got him
But
going. That's good.
yeah,
That's
you know
got
what? I got
yeah.
him back. I got him back to what he really is and should be. So,
You know.
but yeah, he's so it definitely annoyed me in that moment. But I'm at this point, who cares? I don't care anymore. It's fine.
Yeah.
I will say I definitely prefer the Mets over the Phillies. So I was very very happy to see y'all beat them last year and hopefully still this year. And I
Hmm.
I don't know what
We
it
got
is.
some
I mean,
work to do right now.
but
2 games
but I
out.
will
Yeah.
say you're not my favorite of the division though. So the Phillies are the least favorite. I don't know. The Phillies just have always annoyed me. I've always the Braves are probably the team that I'm most
You're
fond of.
talking to a
Or
fan base that
Nationals, but
is you're talking to a fan
Nationals
base that has lived through so many Phillies teams that have annoyed the living shit out of us. So
How great
you're not
was
going to get
that?
any
How great
disagreement
is that
here.
though to have that one up on them right now though after beating
It
them?
is great.
I mean
It
that's
is
great.
great.
I mean that's
It feels good, especially
How
for
it
like
was just
the
so cool to see the Mets pull a Phillies on the Phillies, being the
yeah.
wild card team splitting
Yeah.
in the road and then winning both at
Oh,
home,
yeah.
like they did to the Braves 2 years in a row. We're gonna
It
do
felt
that
good.
to
I
you
think
now.
that the Mets definitely know the flaws of this Phillies team pretty well.
Winning the division,
Like,
I
I
guess,
feel
is
like they
not what
match
you
up
wanna
very
do.
well. Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like they match up very well with this Phillies team. I think that series when they had in the National League Division Series, I think it more of just spoke to the fans that, experienced 07 and 08 and the Jimmy Rollins era, the Chase Utley, the Ryan Howard basically homering
Shane
against us in every single chance
Victorino.
he got.
All
I
those
mean,
guys.
it
Ugh.
was just it was
Jason Worth.
the Jason Worth. There was a lot that went from Philly to the Mets where they've traded a lot of jabs. But there's always been a situation where the Mets or the Phillies have the upper hand on them. I think recently the Mets have had the upper hand on the Phillies. The Phillies are not a team that I'm scared to play. Like, I feel like they match up pretty well with them. The Nationals, a house of horrors in Nationals Park, it always has been, but I still think that the Mets match up with the Nationals always fairly well. The Braves are just the Achilles heel forever. The team that scares me the most in that division is the Marlins, because they're always the team
Because they have
that has
nothing
nothing
to
to
lose
play
at this
for.
point.
Yeah, they
Yes,
have nothing to play
lose or
for,
play
so they put their
yes.
body on the line and they sweat so much against us. And they just destroy us constantly.
Yeah.
In 07, they were the team to knock us out. 08, they were the team to knock us out. It's pretty much every single time since they traded us Piazza, like they had to give us Piazza, they have taken it personally, and they've just beaten the living crap out of us ever since. That was in 1999, 2000? When did Piazza
Wait,
come
who are you
over
talking
here?
about?
When the Marlins had Piazza for 2 weeks, and they had to end up trading him, and they traded him to the
You're
Mets.
saying the Marlins helped knock you out in 07?
Yeah, no,
Like
it was the
during
end of the
regular
season. Yeah, it was the end of the season, 07, 08. And
Right.
it was like
07.
the Marlins
The
didn't win the
classic
division.
spoiler.
Yeah, they didn't
98,
win the
there you
division,
go.
but they just didn't let us win it.
No,
So,
the Marlins were
annoying.
awful, but they just, of course, in
Yeah.
the end, were like the greatest ever. Yeah.
But yet they're
they-
the ones that have the World Series wins in 2000.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, how stupid is baseball, bro? Like, the Marlins
Baseball's
have
crazy.
The Marlins are the biggest joke in that division, yet they have more championships than anyone else in that division in the last 25 years.
The Mets have the biggest drought in that division.
Like, yeah.
So, yeah.
By far.
Yeah. That's
They have the biggest
crazy.
drought. It's been a while.
So,
Hopefully we get there.
It's a pretty even
But
division when you look at like overall. Like the Marlins have most championships, but they're a joke. The Phillies have one. The Braves have one.
The Nationals won with Juan Soto.
Nationals won.
Yeah,
and then the Mets haven't had
Marlins-
any since '86, but they've beaten
the
the
Marlins
Phillies.
had those
They beat,
two championships. The Marlins had those two championships, and right afterwards they had to end up dismantling it completely because they couldn't
both
afford
times,
what they had. And then that move to Miami just made it even worse for them. And now they've just been in like that situation where they're just the bottom feeder constantly. They can't. They have no sense of direction. They have
the
no
fish at the
leadership
bottom.
there. Yeah. But anytime that they play the Mets,
Yeah.
there's always that
I don't know.
pesky
Well,
little shit
It's,
right there. That
we'll see
pisses
what
us
happens.
off.
I don't know. It's very interesting, but yeah, the Braves are the team I hope. I really want to see them beat the Phillies in the playoffs, but
They
we'll
could
see
get
if
their
they match up.
revenge. They could.
I would really.
I'm not
hope to see
counting.
that.
I'm not counting out the Braves whatsoever. I'm not
You
counting
can't.
them out.
I mean,
Never
Ronnie comes
did.
back tonight. Strider hopefully will
Yep.
be healthy.
5.5 game difference, Mets fans. We ain't done yet. That's what I mean. Don't get too comfortable.
We got a long way to go. I mean,
Yeah.
you really don't know what this looks like for a while.
Yeah, but I saw
so-
Mets fans victory lapping the Braves going 0-7. I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
You're not fooling me.
Like, that was tough to see, but it's like they're too good. It's not like, I mean,
No,
but
yeah,
you know what?
so
There
much
are some
talent.
situations where it does get out of hand, like the Orioles, right?
Yeah.
They just have not been good, and it's spiraling out of control to the point where they're out of the playoffs. They're not going to be a playoff team.
The
So,
Braves are a team that
it's
can create
crazy to
offense
see.
at will. That's the thing. Like the Mets need to
Yeah.
get to that direction where they can, where they have that perfect balance of overall offensive talent and overall athleticism.
That was so weird
yeah.
last year when y'all played the last 2 games of the season, and it's like you split wins to
the
help
Braves
each other
had
make it.
the Braves
And the
had to
D-backs
create
are just sitting at home like, what? What the hell, man? Like,
Yeah, and the
hate
reason
everything.
for that was because we had the tiebreaker over
I know,
Arizona.
and you
Yeah.
scored. Yeah, Arizona can only blame themselves. Their bullpen,
Yeah,
and it's
obviously.
continued
They
this
shot
year.
themselves in the foot.
The bullpen is their Achilles. That's what's their issue is, and
Yeah.
it's continued this year. They really have a tough time.
They got
need
talent
a lot
on
of
that
teams
team,
need a lot of teams need relievers. The Phillies also need
Yeah.
relievers. Everyone, I mean, you can never have enough pitching starters and relievers. So, but
yeah. But
Yeah.
the Mets are. Yeah, I know we're bringing up 18 years ago, but you're telling me every Mets Marlins series since then has been stress free.
Yeah, what the
Come on
Marlins
now.
record is, like, it should be more wins than that.
Who cares about their record? Let's talk about the process of those wins. They've had to grind these things out against this team.
Yeah, what's the run differential in those wins?
It's rough. It's
Yeah.
rough.
I wonder what that is.
They scare me. They scare me more than the Braves at this point. They always do it. But hey, it's whatever. No, I'm not saying record doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, the quality of the wins, the process of getting to that win. They give it hard on us from the D Gordons to the Luis Arise when he was there for a little bit. Now Xavier Edwards being the pest from the top of those lineups. I mean, you can go Juan Pierre. Remember Juan Pierre destroying us the way that he did? And speaking of destroying the Mets, before we move on here, Gene Segura retired this week.
Wow,
Everybody
did he really?
That? For those of you who don't know, he has played 85 games against the Mets in his career. He has 103 hits against the Mets in 85 games. That's insane. That's nuts.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Including big, like, game-winning hits, too. So, I mean,
He owns Diaz, right?
Yeah.
And Miguel Castro.
Well, a lot of people own Miguel Castro.
A lot of people did. Yeah. I saw Miguel Castro got traded to the White Sox. So, end of your career, buddy. Sorry. It's sad when they go young like that. Anyways, let's get into the best way to recap this entire Mets versus Red Sox series. Now, this is Isaac, this is a segment that everybody loves. Of course, everyone's favorite. Studs and duds. One player that was really good in this series we want to give props to, one that was not, and we want to hold accountable. Yes, Adrian Hauser is also on the White Sox. Poor Adrian Hauser. Anyways, Frank, I will start this one off with you for your stud in this series on the Mets side, and then we'll go to Isaac. He'll give his Red Sox that was a stud in this series. So, Frank, it's all yours.
Yeah, I mean, I have to go to the one game they won, and that was because of Brett Beatty. I mean, he was huge. Mendoza was like, I don't want to put him in the lineup. I'm facing a lefty, but I'll just put him in because his defense. I'll bat him 9, so it doesn't really impact us. Yet he ends up being the most productive player, driving in 3 of the 5 runs. So he was there for defense, gave him the best offense, and all those games that they sat him against lefties and put Marte out there instead because can't face a lefty. Look what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about that before this series even started. I was like, it looks like they don't trust him against lefties. And it was like, it's going to be tough to see him as a possible everyday player if they don't start him against lefties. They put him in against lefties, and he's had his best performances against them. It was like, so you can hit lefties. Like, what is happening?
Yeah,
Isaac,
like in that last game when he smoked that double, the bases loaded.
Yeah, he's been better. He has been better because some of the plate appearances we saw before he was optioned down, he looked like, they just put in a fan from the crowd. Like that. Yeah,
basically like Soto against Crochet was Beatty against everybody. He was just like taking pitches and he was down 0-2 every time. It took like a couple weeks to be ahead in a count. Like it was just like some crazy things that were going on.
It got really bad. But it's good to see him actually producing because he's going to have to hit in order to continue like this, and hopefully it does continue, and I will eat my words if it does continue, but I'm still waiting it out. I want to see consistency from him. I'm sorry for everyone that wants me to give him an apology after every time that he breathes, but it's not going to happen at this current moment. So, Isaac, I'll go to you on the Red Sox side. If there is somebody that you want to put out here as a stud in this series for their overall performance, Do you have anybody in mind here?
I have a couple guys.
All right.
I'm gonna shout out Carlos Narvaez. They're calling him the captain. Captain Narvaez. He's been
Cousin of Omar Narvaez, Mets legend.
Yeah.
Am I right, Frank?
He's been very good as the catcher for the Red Sox this year. First year as the catcher, rookie. He's been great. He's like fitting right in, and he's hit. He's providing more than enough defensively, and then he's also hitting. And he hit that homer in the second game, followed by the Devers homer, and Justin Slayton. Justin Slayton struggled a lot, but recently he's looked a lot better. So hopefully, the Red Sox bullpen has been a big issue with them this year. Nobody you can fully count on other than Chapman, and you can't just count on Chapman. You can't just count on any one guy.
Chapman kind of flames out towards the end. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's just like, if he starts walking guys, it's like even if he throws hard, you can't trust that. So you got to have some help around him.
I don't know if you know this.
And what?
I don't know if you know this, but Justin Slayton was with Texas, and he was up for the Rule 5 draft, and the Mets selected him in the Rule 5 draft, and then they traded him to the Red Sox. So you're welcome for Justin Slayton.
You were very like,
yeah.
Do
it was
you
just
like him? Do you see?
I do like his. I like his arm, but he's got to find some consistency. Yeah, he's a little all over the place, but. He's got quite an arm on him. I think the Mets did it because
and the curveball is.
I think it's because of a roster crunch, and I don't think it's that. But he's got some good stuff. So you're welcome for.
He's
Justin
definitely got
Slayton
potential, but like it doesn't help when he's given up, like blowing all these games in a row like he was. But he's kind of back to. So hopefully, he'll start keeping this up, and he looked very.
He's young. He's very young. I'm pretty sure he's like 24
or so. Yeah, he is very young.
Yeah, he's pretty young. So
yeah, how old is he?
Again, he's a reliever, so very inconsistent in that way. For me, how about we go for the guy who was hitting pretty much every single time he was up? I mean, it seemed like he was the only bat that was awake the entire series. Tyrone Taylor. He's really woken up offensively,
as everyone would predict.
I think it's again, it's Jose Siri out, like we have said. He's kind of taken that center field role, even though they are trying Jeff McNeil in center field. I don't consider him a center fielder. Tyrone Taylor always does something to help you win. Always does, no matter what. Even if he goes 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, like we have seen many, many times this year, he's giving you something in the field, on the base paths, something he contributes. He's a winning baseball player. Just he is. Frank, I'll go to you for your dud in this series. There's one obvious one. I know there is.
Really quick, Justin Slayton is 27, by the way.
27.
But
okay,
so not quite
young for a
but
reliever.
that's honestly young. Yeah, I was just gonna say young for a reliever.
Young
it's
for a
funny how
reliever.
like 32 is young for a reliever.
Yeah, that's a
like
reliever
kind of
prime. Yeah.
Yeah, because you could, a reliever at any age can be reliable as long as you're good. Like, there's hitters or starters where it's like, oh, they're older. It's like, but you could be 35 and lights out as a reliever.
Just like Adam
As
Ottavino.
demanding. Right.
I'm sure you have.
Ottavino, Red Sox and Mets legend.
Yeah, there you go.
We both have the same legendary memories of him. Yeah.
I'm just glad that's over. It's like, okay, give it up.
Is
already.
it?
Let's give it up.
He still wants to pitch.
Oh,
Yankee this year.
On
he's
SNY.
on SNY today. Yeah, no.
On SNY today,
Really?
he was like, just a complete heist to get Huskar Brazaban from David Stearns, and he's like, dude, stop.
Wait, what do you mean? He was like talking about the Mets?
Adam Ottavino is also an analyst on SNY.
No way. Oh my God. That's funny. I didn't know
because
that.
this is what happens in New York, where if a guy loves the sound of his own voice so much, they have to give him a platform. That's how Andy Martino got started. That's how Sal Licata got started. That's how all these. I'm name dropping so much. I gotta chill. But so Adam Ottavino, I don't know if he's retired. He's not retired.
He's not retired. No, he pitched for the Yankees this year.
No.
He said he's waiting. He doesn't want to pitch for minors.
He's waiting by the phone?
Major league team. Yes, he's on MLB Network this week. He wants to still pitch.
I mean, he's
all
been
right.
awful,
Staten Island
though.
Ferry
He
Hawks,
just-
huh? Your Ducks? You want to get an autograph
he's
from him of the
walking
Ducks,
everybody.
Frank?
At the Ducks. That'd be a good one.
I mean, I'm rooting for the
Anyways.
guy, but
I'm sure he's a nice guy, but it's just one of those like draining situations. Like he takes forever to get to the plate. Guys run all over him all the time. He'll hang a slider and it'll be so crucial. I just like it's one of those things. It's like move on. Like let's just move on. He's not a bad pitcher. He's not awful, but it's just like let's move on. Let's do something else. Like let's do something. And that's how it felt with the Mets with him, because it seemed like he rejected so many contracts with them and ended up coming back. It was like enough. I get you like New York. I get you do. I'm sure you're a nice guy, but it's like let's move on here. Let's move on. And I hope that's how the Mets feel, because he was on our he was on our playoff roster and he got taken off. Like they barely even used him.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
He made it through the whole season.
Barely. Yeah. And even Rich Hill got signed this before.
Yes.
So
that's right.
Yeah. He's with Kansas City now.
Rich Hill.
Rich Hill, man. I mean, you know Rich Hill pretty well too, because he's had like 4 stints with the Red Sox. So yeah. He's had like Rich Hill's had like what 14 different teams.
He's also a dud.
Jeez. Anyways, duds in this series. Isaac, you want to go to your dud Red Sox in this series?
I would just say the hitting. It's pretty simple. He scored, 6
overall?
runs all 3 games. Yeah.
No one to call out individually?
Well, Bregman struck out, did something he's never done in the history of his entire existence in the last game. So that was crazy. I'm not blaming it on. I mean, that's just a crazy thing that happened. And it just, but overall, no. Yeah, the offense just didn't do enough. The wind, screw the wind. The wind is the biggest dud they took away for some reason. They decided to take away 3 extra runs from us. So that sucks. Yeah. We would have probably swept if that's a home run. Yeah. But it wasn't, and it is what it is. But offense. But you know what? Offense, I can't really talk shit about the offense right now after today. So hopefully they keep it up.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I wouldn't disagree with you from the Mets side here with offense, because overall our offense was so bad in this series, like overall. So anybody in particularly pointing out, it's whatever. Frank, did I give you your dud? You gave your...
No, you didn't, but I think we should move to something else real quick.
The sandwich in the chat coming through with $4.99 here, saying if they bring back Coke, can the Mets win like in '86?
They would be sprinting more. They'd be less jogging.
There's plenty of stuff from the '80s that I don't think you can repeat.
They already tried that with Matt Harvey. Didn't work. So
that's only You're coming to the sore wounds, but you know what? It's okay. It's fine. We're here to be brutally honest. That's our thing.
We've lived through worse.
We have definitely lived through worse. It's not even in the top 50, not even the top 100 probably. But yeah, either way, Frank, I'll go to you. For your dud.
Let's stick with third base. I mean, Mark Vientos, he goes 1 for 11 in this series while getting DH reps. And when you look at it now, he's got 100 more player appearances than Brett Beatty, and they have the same amount of home runs. I would not have predicted that at all. So he needs to get that ball lifted and the ballpark. He's batting second. So I think they are making like a very conscious effort to try to get him going, because their playoff run, he was the number 2 hitter and he excelled there. So they are very clear, like, listen, Vientos, we are going to try you at 2. Like, we need to get you going. And they're putting him at third base today, and Beatty's at second. So if all of a sudden you see Vientos like not doing good at third again, but Beatty's playing good at second, it's like if his offense is not going to be elite, you might as well just have Acuna or McNeil play and just leave Beatty at third. Like, they got to figure out what's going on here because he needs to get it going. He's here for offense. He needs to hit for power or average. Do something. Like, he can't be OPS plus below 100. Like, he needs to be.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this here, and he's between Lindor and Soto. He's gonna get plenty of pitches.
Hold on. Wait, there was a scratch in the lineup? What happened?
Scratch in the lineup?
They said
they moved Marte into the 2-hole.
Oh, they did. Yeah, he's out. Acuna's in. Vientos out of the lineup. Okay, then. That's weird.
Okay, well, our offense just got worse. All right. Anyways, Marte DHing, batting second. Who doesn't love that?
And now
Okay.
Taylor's batting 6th.
Sick.
And
So
Alvarez
sick.
out of the 9th spot. Now he's batting 7th. That's the thing. Mendoza is getting really caught up on this lefty righty stuff. To move Taylor to 6 and put Alvarez 7. I mean, they're both.
I think he's
right-handed,
just
so,
scrambling.
yeah.
I think he's just scrambling for something. Because like at this point, you need some kind of unk in the 2-hole again. We can't escape.
Why do I feel like Vientos is about to go on the IL or something? Because that's really strange.
Possibly. I don't know. I have
He
no
might have
clue.
like pulled something in pregame workouts or like what happened here.
I have no idea. No clue. Wow, that's crazy. We'll see what happens. We'll keep updated on that, obviously, and we'll have he's an OG that's got to go. But either way, we'll see how that all develops into it. You know, we always have to have that craziness, of course. I'm gonna just toss Soto in there after the drama surrounding that. It really
Ohtani
is.
We'll throw live BP at Citi Field on Saturday.
Nice. Okay, so he's going to make his return against us. Okay, out of the bullpen. Awesome.
Perfect.
Well, they
gonna shut us
talked
down.
about that. They're not really sure what to do there because you can't really send them on a rehab assignment. So
Why not?
it's like how
my
you
God,
actually
you're
gonna
right.
like
Holy
like
crap,
how you
where
actually
are
gonna
they
get
gonna-
him like ramped up to be a starter? Like they're gonna have to take it really slow with him.
They're just
They
gonna
probably
have
would
to
have to
do,
just have him throw
yeah.
bullpens and live BP.
simulated
that-
games beforehand.
Yeah. That's weird.
That's very interesting.
We've
That's
never
very
had a
unique.
case like that because, like,
No. Yeah.
you
Because
know,
he's technically healthy. Like he's not like hurt and trying to get it. Like he's hurt, but not hurt in a way. Like
he's a healthy hitter, but not a healthy pitcher.
Yeah.
He's two players.
Pretty much.
Oh my God.
Shohei
Off the
Ohtani,
spot.
like he knows
Yeah.
he's not gonna forget how to pitch. Like he's still.
Yeah.
So I think he'll just have to.
When was the
he'll
last
just
time
be-
he did throw a pitch? It's been a while.
It's
been
a
like
while.
it has been a long
like
time,
nearly 2
so-
years, right?
He had
At
the
least?
was it
Well,
what
I
was
thought
it?
he meant like by like throw it like you mean like in game? Yeah,
Throwing
it's been
a
almost 2
pitch in
years.
like
game.
pitching in a game.
It's been almost 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember he had like his last year with the Angels, he was having surgery or he was batting, but he was just going to DH. So
It
We'll
really
see
is
it.
incredible though that Shohei, like even though he hasn't even pitched yet, he's still been worth every penny because
That's
of
crazy.
his hitting and just the way.
I mean, the
he
Dodgers
is
already
for-
got their title, so it's like they already got
right.
it.
They got a title from him. They got his numbers, and they just got his like all the money he brings, just being just the celebrity, the superhero that he is.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So he's
Wild.
worth all the money in the world. They've already basically paid off that whole. It's insane.
I mean, he's not
Well, he's not
after
even getting paid that much because they just deferred it. He's only
I
getting $2
know,
million.
and then he'll be going back to Japan with all that money, and it won't even be taxable. I don't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ay, nuts.
It's a good move.
Yep. I mean, it's that's the guy you invest in right there. That's a guy to invest in. I think we're doing some Chris Collinsworth impressions in here. But I mean,
Why? What is that?
other than that, yeah, like how he goes like with Mahomes and he glazes Mahomes. He's like, yeah, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he is just incredible. Like,
Does he do that? That's funny.
You know, they've got their favorites for sure. And Ohtani is
Just like
Ohtani is
how
what's
many
his
batters
name's
away?
favorite.
I mean,
He's
listen,
the
guys,
golden boy.
he's no batters away because he'll be leading off the game tonight for the Dodgers.
Yeah,
he's
He's
zero batters away.
There you
Anyway,
go.
speaking of the Dodgers, I do want to get into that, and then we'll wrap it up here and preview this series, of course, because the Mets will be having a NLCS rematch against the Dodgers. Perfect time to be doing it after the Mets offense is being so fantastic at this current moment, but that's just how the schedule rolls. But other than that, let's get into some of the pitching matchups for this series. Obviously, at Citi Field, Griffin Canning will get game 1 for his 10th start of the year, and he will face the future member of Cooperstown in Clayton Kershaw, coming off of his return from the IL. This is his second start of the season. First pitch will be at 7:10 tonight on Apple TV, everyone's favorite network to watch games on. Game 2 will go to David Peterson and he will be looking to continue the productive month of May that he's been under. He will be facing the 31-year-old right-hander Tony Gonsolin. First pitch will be at 7:15 p.m. tomorrow on Fox. And Game 3 will go to Kodai Senga for the series finale. With his biggest test of his early NL Cy Young bid, he will face the young right-hander Landon Kanak. It's actually Knack, but I just wanted to say it like that. First pitch will be at 7:10 on Sunday, televised by ESPN, meaning we will have an entire 3-game set without Gary, Keith, and Ron, which kind of sucks. But hey, we'll push through it. The mute button does exist. We have the technology. Anyways, we know how good this Dodgers team is. We know that at this current moment, their pitching staff is not at full strength. They still have talent. The Mets do have an opportunity to hit against this team that is a little bit vulnerable in the pitching department. We all know that the way that you work around these hitters, you're going to have to pitch to someone. We know that, what's his name? Obviously Ohtani, Betts, Freeman has been on a tear. So Frank, some stuff that you're looking out for. This is a good Dodgers team. I think we all can agree. This team is really, really good.
Yes. We knew they would be good. They are good. The Mets are lucky they're not facing Yamamoto in this series. He's been by far their best pitcher. They're not facing him, not facing Dustin May. And obviously we just talked about a little while ago, Ohtani hurt as far as the pitching. Blake Snell hurt for a while. Glass now, he's still not back. So it's like you're missing still the top 3 in the Dodgers rotation. You're basically still not even facing them. Landon Knack is in there to accommodate a 6-man rotation for Yamamoto and for Roki. So they're not facing Roki either. So this, if you're going to face the Dodgers, it's like this is when you want to face them. Kershaw is just getting back, these first few starts off the injury list. Same thing for Gonsolin. Both these guys have been out for a while. So they're still trying to get their footing, so to speak. But in the lineup, like you mentioned, I mean, they have the 3 real MVPs. They try to friend up the Yankees. Oh my gosh, Bellinger, Goldschmidt, Judge. That's not 3 MVPs. 3 MVPs is Ohtani, Betts, Freeman. Those guys are much more scary. And then you have Will Smith, who's been just absolutely insane this season. He's hitting .339. Muncy has struggled, but he crushed the Mets in the playoffs. Still a ton of power in that bat. They have Teoscar. He's back healthy again, so look out. We just know from top to bottom, it's scary. I hope they get to face Conforto in the series because he's been absolutely awful. So I'm curious to see how that matchup would go. But other than that, like you said, you can't really work around. It's not those things don't pitch the top half. You'll get them the bottom half. Or not really. No matter where you go, someone is going to crush it. And
I'm hoping
just a scary lineup. I'm hoping
the Mets fans boo Tommy Edman. Please, just boo him.
Yeah, Tommy Edman's at the bottom half.
The sake of the way that dude haunted my nightmares in October. Please, that dude pissed me off so much. I hate that dude. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's more so just you got to be. There's a good test for this pitching. I mean, right now Mets still number 1 ERA, but this Dodgers lineup, it'll be interesting. The Angels swept them over the weekend, which was very strange. But then they're able to win the following series against the Diamondbacks. So, maybe you'll catch them, and you might catch them right now, on a good chance. If the Mets were going to win a series from the Dodgers, it would be these pitching matchups. But they got to hit in order to make it work. It goes both ways.
The bats have to show up.
Even though you're not facing their best pitchers, you still have to beat them. So you got to actually do it.
Yeah.
It's not a simulation.
It isn't. No. Clayton Kershaw, we all know the history. A 2.03 earned run average in his history against the Mets. Always seems to kill him. The last time we faced him, the Mets actually got to him. Decent. They actually got to him at 4 earned runs. 3 2/3 innings pitched. So he's starting. He is starting to.
Hey, we got my guy Matt Wilkins in the chat. He's a big Mets fan.
All right. So saying bad news, we're playing the Dodgers this weekend. Good news.
Vientos
we go on a 6-game win streak.
He was scratched for precautionary reasons with abdomen soreness. So abdomen soreness.
So he had to take a shit. Basically,
maybe, and we know if you take too long, there will be a delay. Like with Pete, you can't take too long. There will be a delay. The umpires don't like that.
Well, listen, I mean, the bathroom's got a door. You got to figure out the lock. I mean, it's a whole thing, All right. Well, we'll see. We'll catch up on that. I know he he had something. He was removed from a game.
He pulled the
earlier
groin when he
this
did
year.
the jumping
Yeah.
play a few weeks ago. So
Sounds like
I
a
hope it's
DH
just
to
not-
me.
Yeah, I just hope it's not another oblique. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't want.
Let's hope he's okay. But the only thing that is important is that Starling Marte will get his ABs. That is really, really important. We'll see Griffin Canning. He's started off a great campaign so far this year after being one of the worst pitchers in all of baseball. This is a big test for him. Senga, maybe he gets revenge in that third game after that horrendous outing he had in the playoffs against the Dodgers in game 1 of the National League Championship Series. Isaac, I know you know the Dodgers pretty well, obviously. I've been told that you are the big Dodger fan by a lot of your viewers. You're so big on the Dodgers. But good way to
People
line
are
up.
saying that?
Yeah, I think I've heard you say in your videos, you're like, oh, people are saying, oh, I'm giving too much credit to the Dodgers, or I'm not giving them enough. People are just complaining about whatever. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens in this one. Mets offense, they gotta get it going. But we know how good this Dodgers offense can be in the blink of an eye. Let's just say that. But if there's anything you want to add about this upcoming series, because we got some last minute thoughts, and then we'll get out of here.
No, it's pretty much just everything you guys said. I'm excited to see Shohei back pitching eventually, and I guess it starts against the Mets shutting them down and in practice. He'll just be like, you know what? No, I got it, and he'll throw a no-hitter. So no. But
Sick.
no, we'll see what happens. Rematch. It'll be fun.
All right. Well, either way, thank you for joining us for this special episode of MLB drama and Mets versus Red Sox stuff. So, guys, make sure to go follow Isaac, iTalk Studios. I believe you also started a new podcast. The link to that is also in the description as well. Frank, there's some other stuff that you want to add here towards the end, and then we'll get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Don't throw your glove in the crowd. I mean, you gotta stay composed. Let's see some good hustle. I want to see everybody running hard. No drama, please, and don't get swept. Just don't do that.
Yeah, I think the Mets will take one of these games. As how I'm feeling, I feel that they can. I think with these pitching matchups, they could get the upper hand. They could. Will they? Who the hell knows? Maybe Kershaw will just turn back the clock. Maybe we'll shell Kershaw. Who knows? Kershaw always seems to do well against the Mets, no matter what age he is. He's currently 30 strikeouts away from 3,000. With how much the Mets strike out, he'll get like 15 of those today, right? Something like that. He'll get a decent amount of ground balls too. So we'll see. Isaac, I know you have a game coming up. Your game 2 of the doubleheader with Baltimore for your Red Sox. We've got the Dodgers to deal with throughout this weekend. So either way, we're going to hop off here. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. For those of you watching or listening on playback, you want to join the conversation live in the future, make sure to subscribe to the Mets Weekly YouTube channel and turn on those post notifications to not miss when we go live, which is after every single regular season series of games. Make sure to follow Mets Weekly on X and on TikTok. Follow all of us individually. Isaac's links, like I said, are in the description, along with our third Mike, Andrew, as well, who I was told is actually at Citi Field right now to see the game. I just saw he told us that he's at the game. So if you guys go see him, go antagonize him and say that Mets Weekly sent you and tell him to get his ass back here. Anyways, either way, on to the Mets versus Dodgers, an NLCS rematch. And of course, let's go Mets. And we will see you guys next time.